All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the stream. Welcome if you are new. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for being here. And thank you for waiting patiently, as always, for the stream to actually start. I'm actually pretty excited to do the stream today because we are talking all about Spider-Man 2. The reviews are out, and it seems like we have another Game of the Year contender here with Spider-Man 2. It's currently sitting at a 91 on Metacritic based off of 119 critic reviews. But on top of that, we're hearing some really good things about the performance of the game. It seems Insomniac did what I think many of us expected them to do, come out and polish the game to a mere sheen. And Leo in the chat says he predicted a 91 yesterday. Yeah, I predicted a 90. And it would be funny if it actually does drop down to a 90, but the fact that it's at a 91 is impressive to me. I think it's impressive to a lot of people because it's not easy to get a Metacritic score in the 90s, no doubt about it. And it's interesting because some of the more prominent review websites, such as IGN and GameSpot, actually gave the game less than a 9, which is very interesting. So, yeah, basically what I want to do with you guys today is just kind of talk about this, right? I want to talk about the reviews. I want to talk about what they're saying about Spider-Man 2, the pros, the cons, what's good, what might be lacking, and everything in between. I want to react to Digital Foundry's analysis of what Insomniac has achieved. This is the first, true PS5 exclusive game that seemingly was developed. I mean, I don't know if I want to say it was developed from the ground up for the PS5, but I mean, most of the development time, if not 90% of it was done for the PS5. So I really want to see what Insomniac was able to achieve here. We saw what they did with Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. We saw what they did with Miles Morales and even Spider-Man remastered. So yeah, I'm definitely excited about this. And I'm also interested to see if the score does end up dropping any lower or actually going any higher. I don't know that all of the reviews are out. Now, check this out. You guys can't see this, but I have Metacritic up. It says 97% positive based on 115 reviews. All 115 reviews are positive. There's not a single mixed review. There's not a single negative review. I mean, this is genuinely impressive. And it's actually kind of strange to me that you can get 115 positive reviews. And you almost would think that, geez, the Metacritic would be even higher than that. But yeah, it should make for an interesting stream. I normally don't stream on Mondays, as you know. My streaming schedule is usually Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, but I had to make an exception for today. So I have a couple of chats here I'm going to get to momentarily. Before I do, I want to, waiting for Survivor to give it a 6, absolutely. Before I dive into the reviews and talk about all of this, I want to just let you guys know a couple of ways you can help support the channel. Obviously, being here watching is a big deal. Thank you for that. Hit that like button. If you're excited for Spider-Man 2, if you enjoy these streams, if you want to let me know that you enjoy the streams, take a second of your time, hit that like button. I'd very much appreciate that. A couple of ways you can support my channel directly. Consider becoming a channel member. I put exclusive members-only content out every Saturday. If you become a channel member, you gain access to that. You gain access to emojis you can use in the chat. And it's a great way to support me. If you are already a member, please consider gifting channel memberships. This is something we do on the channel. It's a great way to give out some gifts to the community as well as support me directly, or consider donating a super chat, ask a question, give an opinion, make a statement, whatever it is you want to do. Consider doing that. These are all ways you can help support my content, support my channel. I appreciate everybody who does. Thank you, guys. Okay, so I'm going to start here with Anime for Entertainment, a member for 6 months. He says, Spider-Man 2 looks absolutely amazing, but imagine how crazy Wolverine is going to look. Dude, that's what I'm thinking. Honestly, seeing how well Spider-Man 2 is doing, I'm just sitting here thinking, dude, how much better is Wolverine going to be? Because Insomniac's going to have even more time to spend with, the PS5 and pushing it. And I'm sure it's going to be out for the PS5 Pro. And we have Big MP. That's what he apparently likes to be called. We have Big MP in the chat. He comes in, he kicks us off. He donates 5 membership gifts. He hands them out. Big shout out to Big MP. He's a legend here. Thank you for showing up, man, and thank you for showing that support. I'm going to be using a lot of Venoms today, a lot of Venom sound bites. I think it's appropriate, but thank you for starting the day off with 5 membership gifts. I'm going to add that to the counter. Let's get some W's in the chat for Big MP here. And yeah, dude, anime for entertainment. Absolutely. That's exactly what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, how much, dude, Spider-Man 2 already looks so insanely impressive. How much better can it get? Something tells me Insomniac is going to push it even further. And again, the PS5 Pro is coming. I have no doubt. In my mind that Wolverine is going to be pushed alongside the PS5 Pro. And we have Frederick Williams. Frederick, thank you so much for the membership gifts as well. Following up Big MP, he gives 5 more memberships to the community. Frederick, I'm not sure if this is your first time gifting memberships, man, but either way, I very much appreciate it. And on top of that, we have Hellbound 1981, another legend who consistently shows up, dropping another 5 memberships. That's 10 memberships gifted in just a matter of a couple of seconds. Big shout out to you guys. Big shout out to this community. The generosity is consistently staggering. So thank you so much. We are now at 15 members, just like that. Very much appreciate it. Let me add that to the counter and give you guys a couple sound bites here. We'll do a Crazy Arnold. We got to do a Crazy Arnold because, I don't know, man, the hype is real. The hype is real. Arnold's hype. So, Hellbound, Frederick, Big MP, thank you guys so much for the membership gifts. And we have Jeffrey Granda with a $5 super chat. He says, and they really thought that Starflop was going to be the game of the generation. More like loading screen simulator. Spider-Man 2 game of the year. Fire, no doubt. It's inevitable, man. It's inevitable that people are, I mean, I haven't been on Twitter. I'm not looking around at what people are saying, but I have no doubt that people are already comparing the Metacritic review scores of Spider-Man 2 to Starfield. And I mean, no matter which way you slice it, Spider-Man 2 has reviewed better than Starfield. And I don't want to say it's a better game for sure because of that. I mean, it's subjective at the end of the day. Everybody's going to decide for themselves. But the point is, Spider-Man 2 is living up to the hype. You know, that is the point, man. And we have Omen86, another legend returns. Omen86 comes out and he drops 5 membership gifts as well. Guys, that brings us up to 20 members just like that. Omen, big shout out to you, my friend. Thank you so much for the consistent support. And then on top of that, we have the Leninator FFC chiming in here saying, you know what? I'm going to gift a membership as well. He brings us up to 21. Guys, we are already nearly halfway to the goal that I put out there today, which is kind of crazy. So again, thank you for the support. We have an incredible community here, an amazingly generous community. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be able to do these streams and produce this content. So thank you so much for that. Let me give you guys a... no, I'm just going to keep using the Venom. I feel like it's weird if I use anything else considering the topic today. But yeah, Jeffrey, I mean, that's the thing, dude. Starfield... I don't think Starfield is a bad game. I think it has issues. I think that it is maybe a victim of being overhyped. Starfield reminds me of a game that had this just insane hype behind it. And I think it delivered on a lot of things, but I think it also struggled in some areas. And I think now that the game's been out for a little while, people recognize that and people are seeing that. And I think people are becoming more open to admitting that, yeah, it has some issues, and that's fine. Again, that doesn't make it a bad game. It's just people have tried to compare games like Spider-Man 2 to Starfield for a long time, and it's going to continue to happen. But the reality is they are very different games. What Insomniac is doing here is what they do best, and I understand that when it comes to Bethesda and Starfield, a lot of people were looking at that thinking, well, that's what Bethesda does best, right? I don't know. Maybe they need to do something with their engine. I can't say. Again, all I can say, dude, is that Insomniac is delivering. You know, I put my in my thumbnail that, you know, they did it again because that's exactly what's happening. They're doing it again. Insomniac has one of the most consistent track records I've ever seen from a studio. They are 3 years. We're about to enter the 4th year of the PS5. Okay, pretty much halfway through this generation, Insomniac has done the heavy lifting, and they are not stopping. They're doing their biggest lift yet with Spider-Man 2. And I know we talk all about review scores a lot. Listen, review scores should not determine whether or not you want to support a game, whether you want to be excited for a game. But there's no doubt that achieving a 90 or higher on Metacritic is an impressive thing, because what that tells you is that universally everybody liked this game. Everybody found something of quality in this game. And Spider-Man 2, I mean, look, again, I predicted a 90 on Metacritic, but a lot of people were expecting an 87, an 88, an 89, which would still be good. And again, I don't want to speak too soon just in case anything does change. But, you know, it's just, look, here's the reality, right? PlayStation fans who've been waiting for this game, Spider-Man fans who've been waiting for Spider-Man 2, the expectations are through the roof. The expectations are sky high because Spider-Man 2018 was amazing. Spider-Man Miles Morales was also amazing. Even Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart was amazing. And so, yes, people are going to look at Spider-Man 2 and say, this has got to be even better. So the bar is raised, and Insomniac rises to the occasion. They do it every time, man. And again, I cannot wait for Wolverine. Let me see here. We have, so Jeffrey, thank you for the super chat, man. We have Josh with a $5 super chat. Or sorry, I missed Omen86's super chat. And he says, only Big and Sony consistently put out quality. I mean, dude, that's the thing with this, right? I know Sony has been getting a lot of flack for things lately, and we've been talking about that. We've talked about that quite a bit. But the reality that I think some people choose to ignore when it's convenient to ignore is that this is what Sony does, and this is why people support PlayStation. I can't wait to see how Spider-Man 2 sells, because it's going to clean house, man. It is. And it's not that I care necessarily about how much money Sony's making, but it's a AAA polished, high quality single player game. And of course it's Spider-Man, so that guarantees it's going to sell well. But Insomniac has clearly poured their heart and soul into this game. They gave it everything they got, right? They've been doing it this entire gen. I absolutely want to see this game succeed. I absolutely love to see it sitting at a 91. I can't wait to see it sell well. I can't wait to see them find the success that they earned, that they deserve. And if there's one thing we can say, and I agree with Omen here, is that Sony has been consistent. Again, regardless of the problems you have with some of their business decisions, they have been consistent when it comes to game development. And I'll tell you why I play video games: to enjoy them, right? I play video games to have fun, to enjoy them, and I gravitate towards what I consider quality games that appeal to me, and Sony has been absolutely delivering that. And it's just really nice to see that, look, we had to wait. We had to wait this year. There's no denying that. 2023 was a bit dry when it comes to Sony's first party and PlayStation Studios. But this is once again proof that the wait is worth it. The wait is worth it. I would rather wait a year or nearly a year till the end of October for Sony to say, here's our single player AAA first party game, and to see that it's clearly going to be a worthwhile experience, a quality experience, one that will be memorable. Yeah, that's worth the wait for me. Maybe not everybody agrees, but I have no doubt. I have no doubt that there are people out there right now looking to hate on Spider-Man, trying to hate, trying to find anything they can. And, it's just sad, because it's like you could just enjoy the game. You could just be excited that we're getting another high quality game from Sony, but, people got to do it. They got to do it. But we have Josh here with another super chat. He says, and this is why Sony doesn't feel rushed to do a showcase. People got to chill a bit. LOL. We are out here eating, folks. Insomniac did it, and they cracked the 89. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of been the whole thing with Insomniac. Is I think this is why people were so hyper fixated on Spider-Man 2 reviews to see, is it going to get a 90 or higher? Because Insomniac had this kind of curse, right? I mean, it's not a bad thing because they're still good scores, but they just couldn't go beyond 89. Like, they couldn't get it to a 90. No matter how good the game was. Miles Morales, Ratchet and Clank, they're in the high 80s, again, which is good. But it's just really nice to see them achieve this because, again, I just feel like they earned it. It's hard earned, man, and they deserve it. They deserve all the success. Insomniac, they have the crown right now. I think Santa Monica Studio obviously knocked it out of the park with Ragnarok, sitting at a 94 on Metacritic, Horizon Forbidden West, right, GT7. But the reality, and I think even Demon Souls is sitting at a 92 on Metacritic. But the reality is Insomniac has the crown right now when it comes to PlayStation Studios. They are, I don't know how anybody could argue that. How could you argue against Insomniac and what they've done, what they've produced, what they're continuing to do? I don't think anybody would. And it's going to be so, dude, it will be mind-blowing if Insomniac actually gets Wolverine out next year. I'm not anticipating that. I think that's asking too much from them. But then again, look at what they're doing, man. That would be mind-blowing. But Josh, I think you are correct here. You're saying this is why people maybe got to chill out a little bit asking for a showcase. It's hard for me to do that. I mean, regardless of how excited I am for Spider-Man and for what's coming in the next 5 to 6 months, there's still that kind of, part of me that I really want to know. I really want to know what else you guys got lined up. What else is coming down the line? What does the roadmap look like? But at the same time, objectively, you're correct, man. Like, this is why I said, like, how can people be so cynical when we're getting good games right now? You know what I mean? It's not like Sony delayed Spider-Man and said, sorry, we're going to have to release Spider-Man like sometime early next year. No, it's coming out now. And it's sitting at a 91 on Metacritic. And it looks incredible, right? We have third-party games filling up the holiday space as it always does on top of that. We have the Game Awards coming up. And then early 2024, just on the Sony side of things, confirmed we have Helldivers 2 and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Rumored, we have Silent Hill 2 Remake and Rise of the Ronin. We'll see if those rumors come true. So it's like, yeah, I don't necessarily think Sony's feeling pressured or rushed right now because why would they? Why would they when they know Spider-Man 2 is going to clean house? Now, maybe that makes me a little bit frustrated because it's like, okay, all right, fine, Sony, I get it. Enjoy it, right? Enjoy it. Why not? You earned it. Insomniac did the work, man. They did the heavy lifting. But I totally agree with you, Josh. It's one of these things where at the end of the day, no matter how much you want to know, how eager you are to know, you can't deny we're eating good. We're eating good. We have Lock PSB, a member for 5 months. He says all of the Xbots on Twitter are seeding right now. Spider-Man 2 scored higher than all of the Xbox games that were released this year. But it doesn't matter, dude, because they have Activision Blizzard, right? Microsoft bought games that already exist. They're not making these games. They bought games that already exist, and they're saying you can get these in Game Pass, and that's fine, right? So why would they be seething? That's the question I have. Why would they be seething when they should be celebrating this thing that they've been, fixated on for the past 2 years? They got what they wanted. We got, as far as I'm concerned, PlayStation fans are getting what we want. This is what I want. High quality, AAA, single player games. That's what I want. That's what I've been waiting for. That's what I've been getting from Sony. So, I don't know why they would be seething, but I get it. Some people are going to seethe no matter what. They're going to be upset. I don't get it, but to each their own, I guess. And we have Big MP. Big MP is coming in again. He's coming in heavy today. He drops another 5. Don't go too crazy now, Big MP. Don't go too crazy. But he comes in and he drops another 5 membership gifts. That's 10 total. Dude, shout out to you, man. Thank you so much for keeping the membership train going. Big MP gets us over the halfway point. So we are now sitting at 26 members. Not even a half hour into the stream. We are already over the halfway point. You guys are incredible. Thank you so much for the support. I really do appreciate it. Let's see here. We also have Anthony O. And he says, hi, Xbots. How butthurt are you right now? Oh, my God. Can you tell that some of you guys in here were waiting? You're absolutely waiting. How butthurt are you right now? Thanks for the good work, Mr. MBG. Keep up the great content. Well, thank you so much, man. I'm glad you enjoy the content. Listen, I know some people out there are going to be frustrated. They shouldn't be. Like, honestly, they shouldn't be. I know that there are always going to be those individuals that they want to see something like Spider-Man 2 fail, and I feel like I don't know why anybody would think that that was ever going to happen. It's Spider-Man, you know. If it was a new IP, maybe, but just don't be upset. Just don't, because it's like, look, you got Starfield, you got Activision Blizzard, you got a good showcase this year. What is there to be upset about? Any Xbox fan that's sitting here today, okay, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on YouTube, wherever it might be, anywhere that is focused on Spider-Man and talking negatively about it, they're not an Xbox fan, dude. They're just a toxic fanboy. That's all they are. Because if, as far as I'm concerned, Xbox fans right now should not be paying attention to Spider-Man 2. They should be focused on what Microsoft is doing. Because why wouldn't they be? Unless they plan to play Spider-Man 2, unless, you know, that's a game they're looking forward to, then yeah, talk about it, of course. Now's the time. But it's just so strange to me that there are people out here that they just, I don't know, man. They just lose the plot completely. You saw a Metacritic review for Starfield 10 better than Marvel Spider-Man 2. Not joking. That's what I'm talking about right there, bro. Like, what that person's not an Xbox fan. That person doesn't even care about gaming. Like, that's a joke. That's a joke, bro. Oh. But not surprising. Not surprising. And Omen86 says, I said big N. Nintendo and Sony both call it. Okay, I appreciate that clarification. For some reason, that didn't register when I read it the first time. So thank you, Omen, for the clarification. And then you're saying, by the way, did you notice I didn't mention Xbox? I did notice that. I did notice that, Omen. But, all right, look, here's what we're going to do now. Guys, hit that like button for me. We have almost 700 people here, which is great to see. If you enjoy the stream, if you're enjoying the content, hit that like button. Let's go over to Metacritic and let's start perusing some of these reviews. So it went up from 119 to 120 critic reviews. Still 96 positive. There's not a single mixed or negative review. So there are a bunch of outlets, obviously, out of these 120 outlets. There are a bunch that I'm not familiar with. I don't recognize. So I'm going to stick to the ones that I do recognize and, you know, just read what they're saying here. And we have Jeff B. Gaming with a $5 super chat. He says, MBG, the ABK deal isn't really a win for Xbox. Call of Duty remains multi-platform for years. Call of Duty going to Game Pass. Meh, most COD players only buy a handful of games. I mean, I agree with you, frankly. I think it's a win for people who really care about Game Pass. Like, if you care about Game Pass and you're subscribed to it and you care about how many games you're getting, I think it's a win. But from my perspective, it just seems like, yeah, I mean, you're going to save some money potentially, right? Like, you won't have to, assuming whenever, I mean, we don't know when Call of Duty is going to start releasing day one on the Game Pass, but yeah, you can save money if you buy Call of Duty yearly, right? By just remaining subscribed to Game Pass. But dude, I saw the crazy, I got to say, this was wild to see. Before I get into these reviews, I came across this post on Reddit on the PS5 subreddit. Where is it? Now it's buried by all the Spider-Man reviews here. Dude, I came across this post. Diablo 4, the Season 2 Diablo 4 teaser trailer was taken down after players found out it was full of mistakes. And I was reading some of the replies here, and dude, the top reply is somebody saying people will always be quick to nitpick Blizzard, but people should watch the video referenced in the article. It's pretty wild the level of mistakes Blizzard made in their own video. I was assuming it was going to be some needlessly detailed lore mistake, but it's like math. And I just was laughing a little bit because I'm like, dude, these are the problems. These are the problems that Microsoft just inherited with this deal. And for some reason, like, no one wants to highlight that things are not perfect. They're actually far from it. Things are actually looking pretty volatile. But I was laughing my ass off. I'm like, how do you screw up your own trailer that bad that you have to take it down? Not even because of a small mistake, because of mathematical errors when it comes to telling people how you're going to earn XP and shit. That is insane. That is absolutely insane. What is happening over there? Anyway, I digress. But Jeff B. Gaming, I appreciate the super chat. We have Alex Mercer, the prototype. He says, do I count MBG since I play both consoles? I mean, look, man, I have no problem with anybody who's playing both consoles, right? Like, it depends on which angle you're taking, Alex Mercer, the prototype. It depends on which angle you're taking. As far as I'm concerned, people who are playing on both consoles and have opinions, there's no problem, you know? The only thing I'll never understand is just the needless hate that people put out there when it's, look, I'm not saying hate is justified, but it's like, if you're going to express your disdain for something, there has to be some kind of justification behind it, something that you can point to say, see, this is why I'm so upset with this thing or unhappy with it. And I feel like a lot of times people are just grasping at straws, and it's weird to see. I don't get it. The meme guy says, MBG has a problem if you're biased to Xbox and spoilers. Yeah, dude, the worst thing is that there are some people out here that are trying to spoil this shit. They're trying to spoil this shit for people. Like, you're just the worst type of person. Go away. No one likes you. Michael, not you, Alex. Thank you for the super chat. Michael Lynch with the $5. He says, of course, everybody wants a showcase. However, a showcase is not necessary for PlayStation to be successful. That's only to satiate our appetites. Yeah, I'm in agreement, man. I still would love a showcase. I'm still eager to see if Sony's going to have anything to show at the Game Awards. I mean, at this point, I'm eager to see if Spider-Man 2 is actually going to be up for a Game of the Year nomination. It seems like it should be in the running. But I'm in agreement, Michael. A showcase isn't fully necessary at this moment in time. We do have games coming out. We have games that we're going to be playing for the next 5 months or so. After that, yeah, I think we're all open to Sony wanting to do another showcase, and I think we would all welcome that. And we have Razo with a donation here. Thank you so much for that, man. It says it's your first time donating. I very much appreciate it. So let's start going over some of these reviews. The first one I notice is Games Radar Plus gives Spider-Man 2 a 10 out of 10. They say Marvel's Spider-Man 2 improves on its predecessor across the board, while saluting the superhero genre over the last 30 years as a whole. With a captivating narrative and unrivaled spectacle, it's the quintessential superhero game in story and mechanical terms. So, huge praise there from Games Radar Plus, giving it a 10 out of 10, calling it the quintessential superhero game. Next up, we have another 10 out of 10 here from Screen Rant. They say Spider-Man 2 is a towering achievement in every metric. At the very least, it's one of the PS5's prominent offerings. I think there's a typo there. VGC gives Spider-Man 2 a 10 out of 10. And they say Spider-Man is an incredibly confident sequel and one of 2023's best, incredibly fun to play, fast-paced, and full of heart. It takes the best of the Spider-Man lore and the best of Insomniac's penchant for excellent gameplay sequences and combines them for arguably the best Marvel game ever. So VGC, I think they're pretty, I don't know, are they considered respectable? I think they are to a certain extent. So there you go, 10 out of 10. We have Twin Infinite with another 10 out of 10. They say Marvel Spider-Man 2 is exactly what fans could have hoped for. It brings the trilogy of PlayStation titles home perfectly and provides an experience any fan of the Spider-Man property will walk away from satisfied. Don't miss out on what could very well be one of the best games of the year and one of Insomniac's best games to date. And so there are a bunch of other 10 out of 10s here. Have VG247 with a 10 out of 10. They say Spider-Man 2 is exceptional. In your hands, it's the best. In your hands, it's the best superhero game. Hold on. It says, in your hands, it's the best a superhero game has ever felt. On your eyes, it's a pure tour de force of what the PlayStation 5 can do. On your heart, it's heavy, enticing, exciting. The open world is a tonic. The characters are a riot. The villains are unbelievable in the best way. Suspend your disbelief in a neat little web above your head. Wow, they really went in here. Dive in with your mask pulled tight over your face and prepare yourself for the daftest, most earnest action game of 2020. My God, man, they're really going in here. Of 2023. It's a 20 or so hour hoot you're not going to be able to put down until a post-credit scene has rolled. God damn, VG247. They really had fun writing that one up, didn't they? But yeah, another 10 out of 10 from VG247. I I'm seeing a bunch of other 10 out of 10s here. 10 out of 10 from The Guardian, Shack News, Impulse Gamer, Gfinity, Inverse. Inverse says the first half of Spider-Man 2's narrative can feel a little bit slow, but the superb open world and emotional second half more than make up for it. This is a compact and tight experience that feels laser focused on delivering an experience that always feels varied and exciting. It universally succeeds in that vision and takes the crown for the best superhero game ever made. So that's another 10 out of 10 review there. Scrolling down here, trying to find... Game Informer gives Spider-Man 2 a 9.5 out of 10. They say Insomniac has nailed that rarest of video game development feats. The team has landed a trilogy of games that all stand strong on their own merits, but unite into a sweeping saga made better by experiencing its entirety. While more Spider-Man games will inevitably expand this mythology in new directions, there's no need to wait. With Spider-Man 2, the developer has found what makes superhero stories worth telling and retelling, and given its likable heroes the journey they deserve. So, yeah, man, it's just the praise is very high with a lot of these reviews. Seeing a lot of 92s here, 91s. Comicbook.com gives it a 9 out of 10. They say, ultimately, Marvel Spider-Man 2 captures the essence of the character on a micro and macro level. We get big, epic set pieces infused with personal stakes, spectacular combat, the amazing web swinging that every kid dreams of, and the story that tests Miles Morales and Peter Parker on both physical and mental levels. While it isn't without its flaws, Spider-Man 2 is a sensational follow-up to the previous games and yet another winner for PlayStation players. Keeping it going here, Destructoid gives it a 9 out of 10. They say, I hope that Insomniac never really stops working on superhero games. That's all they said. Well, I mean, if you think about it, that does kind of speak volumes, right? They didn't say a lot, but that does speak volumes because I think a lot of people actually want to see Insomniac work on other things, but apparently they enjoyed Spider-Man 2 so much, Destructoid that is, that they're sitting here saying they don't want them to stop making superhero games. Digital Trends gives it a 9 out of 10. We have, let's see. True Gaming, Trusted Reviews, 9 out of 10. The Sixth Axis gives it a 9 out of 10. And they say Spider-Man 2 is a fantastic sequel building on the excellent foundations of its forebear while delivering a story that drives these beloved characters forward. Easy Allies gives it a 9 out of 10. Eurogamer Poland gives it a 9 out of 10. Attack of the Fanboy, 9 out of 10. Game Rant gives it a 9 out of 10. You know, surprisingly, PlayStation Lifestyle gave it a 9 out of 10. I want to highlight this. I want to highlight this because I think everybody assumes that a website like PlayStation Lifestyle is automatically going to give it a 10 out of 10. They gave it a 9 out of 10. So, worth pointing out here. Gaming Bolt gives it a 9 out of 10. Washington Post gives it an 88. And so, although the only line here from the Washington Post says, the problem arises when you may realize what I did. I felt all this before. Okay. That's a really weird way to describe your Spider-Man 2 review. I have felt all of this before. Interesting. I could have swore I felt the same way about Elden Ring, and that was fine. I felt all of that before too, but okay. It's very strange to me. Also, how do you give it an 88 and then that's your description of it, right? That's very strange to me. But hey, it is what it is. Forbes gives it an 85. Let's see. Where's IGN and stuff? IGN France gives it an 8 out of 10. Metro Game Central gives it an 8 out of 10. PC Mag gives it an 8 out of 10. I can only assume that PC Mag's review is it's not on PC, 8 out of 10, right? Like, that has to be the review. Push Square gives it an 8 out of 10. That's interesting, too. Push Square is another PlayStation website. They did not just give it a 10 out of 10. GameSpot gives it an 8 out of 10. GameSpot says, all in all, Marvel Spider-Man 2 may largely give us more of what we played in Insomniac's previous Spider-Man games, but that winning formula is still so damn fun that it really doesn't matter. The story's exploration of loneliness is fantastic, creating gripping new narratives for the two heroes, Peter and Miles, as well as the two main villains, Kraven and Venom. Spider-Man 2 unites all four characters in a riveting narrative through line you'll want to see all the way through, and has the gameplay hooks to keep you engaged with the whole ride. See, this is what I don't understand sometimes. Like games, I just anticipate that for a game like Spider-Man 2, where it's very clearly, Spider-Man 2 is very clearly like a highly polished, high quality game. I'm actually going to see if I can find their full review, because I just want to know why exactly they gave it an 8 out of 10. That's all I'm curious about, because I mean, I see Washington. Here we go. The good and the bad. The good. The narrative through line of dealing with loneliness fleshes out Kraven and Venom in new and exciting ways. Peter and Miles' evolving relationship culminates in a fulfilling finale for the two Spider-Men. Combat is as fun as it is in the first two games, rewarding timing with acrobatic combos. New navigational abilities add an exhilarating sense of speed without sacrificing control. The bad. Some side missions are irritating busy work. New areas don't create new types of gameplay, only more ground to cover. Okay, well, I mean, those are some fair points there. I'm actually, the thing I'm interested in seeing is if the side missions are actually, they say it's irritating busy work. I'll be interested to see if that's how I feel about them when I experience it. So GameSpot gives it an 8 out of 10. IGN also gives it an 8 out of 10. IGN says Marvel's Spider-Man 2 delivers Insomniac's best tale yet, and despite its open world falling short, is a reliably fun superhero power trip. So, see if I can scroll down here, see if they have a pros and cons here. Verdict. As a sequel in a spectacular series, Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is both blessed and cursed. Its story of two Spider-Men is a great time and a Spidey fan's dream to play through as comic book pages are brought to life, elegantly walking the tightrope between light humor and heavier themes. Meanwhile, Insomniac refines a successful formula of combat and web swinging without revolutionizing either in major ways, making them comfy and familiar with just enough new tweaks and abilities to elevate them to fun new heights. The part that feels like it actually needed a radical rethinking is the open world of New York City, which has been made bigger but not better, with an exhausting checklist of mostly repetitious side activities. But it's safe to call this another thrilling Spider-Man adventure that delivers Insomniac's best tale yet. And despite its open world falling short, and yeah, we already read that part. So yeah, apparently to GameSpot, they are not, both GameSpot and IGN seem to be pointing out that they have issues with Spider-Man 2's open world a little bit here, saying that it's bigger but not better, and they're not too happy with the side quests. So we'll see, man. We'll see. All right, let me just scroll down and see. So the lowest review score, and this is kind of surprising to me, and this I'm actually really curious to see if any of the reviews that haven't released yet give it anything lower than an 8. An 8 is the lowest score for Spider-Man 2. So that's pretty damn impressive. That is pretty damn impressive, I would say. God damn. How much different can you make New York, MBG? I don't know. They don't tell us. That's the thing. IGN and GameSpot say, what's up with this open world, Insomniac? What's up with this New York City? It's like, I don't know. What were you expecting? Oh my God. Well, it's, you know, I'll be honest, man. I just get this feeling with IGN. Like, dude, people were losing their minds on them for their Starfield review, and they're giving Spider-Man 2 an 8 out of 10, which isn't a bad review score, and I don't even think a 7 is that bad either. But to me, I just get this feeling, and you guys tell me if you get this feeling too. It's not just for Spider-Man 2; it's in general. Like, they know that they're gonna get more engagement if they go ever so slightly against the grain. Yeah, people expect a 9 out of 10. Yeah, they expect a 10 out of 10, but what if we just go a little bit lower than that? And, you know, I just get that feeling sometimes because, I don't know, man. The only thing that I read here that does make me think, okay, that could be a negative, and I'll be interested to see if I agree with it or not, is the side quest stuff. The side quest stuff could be boring, it could be mundane, and it could end up feeling like, oh, okay, yeah, it's pretty whatever. But I've already kind of explained how I'm not going into a game like Spider-Man 2 expecting the side quests to be mind-blowing, that like I just expect them to be competent and good. You know, I'm not expecting them to be next level. Just simply because I don't know, man. I just feel like Spider-Man was never going to be the game to do something like that. It would be great if they could, but everything about the game sounds incredible, man. It does. It really sounds like Insomniac stepped up to the plate here, and they are absolutely delivering. They're delivering another banger. So let's see here. We have From Scratch Gamer, member for 5 months. He says IGN got a lot of flash. I don't know if you meant to say flack a couple of years ago for giving out too many 10 out of 10 reviews. I think this is the pendulum swinging the other way. Yeah, I could see that being the case. It seems to me like a lot of people behave as if they live or die, right? In terms of their game, what games they're going to play in their decision making. They live or die based on these reviews. And it's like, you know, you saw people so outraged with IGN doing did IGN give Starfield a 6 or a 7 out of 10? I don't remember, but just they didn't give it a high review score, right? And people were outraged. Fans were outraged, and they were like, "This is like you guys are a joke." I mean, I witnessed it. I covered it here. It was insane, and it's like, I even tried saying at that time, like, look, I get it. That maybe if you really wanted to see the game review better, that is annoying. And I would be annoyed too. Like if IGN sat here and gave Spider-Man 2 a 6 out of 10, it'd be like, what the fuck? Like, what's wrong with you? You know, like who did you have playing this game? Yeah, I would question that too. But at the end of the day, it's like, you got to just chill out, man. You know, like Spider-Man 2 could be sitting at an 81 on Metacritic right now. And yeah, the conversation right now wouldn't be as like over the top, because it's not as exciting to see an 81 as it is to see a 91. But the reason why I'm excited, like, and I would still play Spider-Man 2 no matter what, right? Like, this is where I've made it clear that Spider-Man 2 is a game that everything I've seen of it, it looks like it's going to be an incredible time. It looks like it's going to be exactly what I hoped for. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It really doesn't. I'm not going into a game like Spider-Man 2 thinking this has to be the perfect game. No, it has to be a great game. That's what I'm expecting, a great game. And to see it sitting in a 91 and seeing that there's over 120 reviews and not a single mixed review, not even a single mixed review, tells me that's exactly what this is going to be. It's going to be a great game. Not a good game, a great game. Not a perfect game, a great game. And that is exactly what I expected from Insomniac. And that's exactly what I hoped for with Spider-Man 2. So as far as I'm concerned, this is worth celebrating. I've always tried telling people that don't let review scores determine if you're actually going to play a game that you're looking forward to. But at the same time, I'm not opposed to saying that if a game you're looking forward to gets really high review scores, there you go. All the more reason to just be excited. So, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Let's see here. No way. Hold on. Okay. All right. All right, let me see. I'm heading over. I don't know. Maybe I'm making a mistake. I was going to head over to Twitter, see what people are saying, but I don't know that I want to, man. I don't know if it's a good idea. Maybe I'll just avoid it. Yeah, I think I'll just avoid it. I don't want to risk anything being spoiled. All right. Yeah, dude, I don't know. It's tempting. You're saying do it. No, yeah, I don't want to, because there'll probably be spoilers, man. There'll probably be spoilers. In a little bit, I'm gonna put on Digital Foundry's video. I'm gonna put on Digital Foundry's video and see what they have to say, because I didn't watch it yet. Like I only watched a little bit of it. I watched like a minute or two, but it seems like, generally speaking, or based off the comments I read, Digital Foundry seems very impressed with everything that Spider-Man 2 is achieving with what Insomniac's doing on the PS5. And again, considering this is a PS5 only title, the first Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart was the first game that I think really kind of was trying to show off what the PS5 can do. But Insomniac has had even more time with it. So Lock PSB, I'm reading your message right now. Are you serious? Is that what that person's doing? That's what that person's doing on Twitter? Lock PSB? Holy shit. What a fucking loser. No way. I can't, like, I don't know if that's true. I mean, what a loser in general, but that's like next level, man. That's next level. Like, if you have a fucking Xbox, fanboy account, you have an Xbox fanboy account, but you dedicate that account to spoiling Spider-Man 2 for people. Holy shit. You are the worst of the worst. Has Phil Spencer publicly congratulated Insomniac on Twitter yet? I don't know. I can't tell you. You know what's crazy to me, man, is that people who do that shit, because that's egregious, man. Like, that is egregious. It's like one thing if you want to just be a fanboy and like hype shit up or talk a little shit, but like doing stuff like that, goddamn, what is wrong with you? How does somebody like that, and this is a real question I have, how does somebody like that get into that position where they amass some kind of following? Somebody like that. You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me, dude. Sad life. That's beyond sad. I don't even know what to describe. I don't know how to describe that. The only thing I can think is that that's all they have, man. I guess maybe you're right. Maybe it is truly sad. Because all I can think is that is all they have to cling on to. Like, that is their identity. That's what defines them. Without that, what else would they have? What would be there for them? I'm not even saying that to be a dick. It's just, I don't understand. Because I feel like a normal, healthy, functioning person who's in a healthy place in their life would not do stuff like that. It's crazy. Complaining about PlayStation 20 tweets a day. Oh yeah, I bet, man. Do people cover them? Do people point out their tweets? No, they probably just focus on PlayStation fan tweets, I bet. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to bring up the Digital Foundry video. I want to watch this with you guys. Let me see here. Give me 1 sec. Am I ready for Alan Wake 2? Hell yeah, man. I'm still upset that it's digital only, but I mean, I can't deny it looks like an incredible game. MBG, no underreacting. You're saying Digital Foundry has spoilers? Hold on now. What are we talking? How can they have spoilers? How can they have spoilers, though? Come on. See, I don't know. Because, like, people are saying there are spoilers, but it's like, dude, people were telling me there were spoilers in the launch trailer yesterday. People were telling me there were spoilers in the launch trailer yesterday. I mean, well, all right. So I guess this will be a warning. I'm going to watch Digital Foundry's review analysis of Spider-Man 2. So this is your warning. If you don't want to see anything, this would be your time to click off. But I do want to watch this. Yeah, on a technical level, if you don't want to see anything of the game, I mean, of course, but I'm eager to see it, man. I want to know. I want to know what Digital Foundry has to say about the tech side here. Omen86 says, I want Jim Ryan to adopt me. Gaming with Grandpa. Bro, Omen, I feel like that shit just came out of nowhere, bro. Omen86 was just a wild ass super chat. It's not about Spider-Man 2. It's not about Xbox fanboys or anything. It's about him wanting to be adopted by Jim Ryan. Well, goddamn, Omen. I don't know. I'm gonna say he probably wouldn't want to adopt you, man. No offense to you. I'm just saying. I just get this sense like he has no interest in adopting you. You know. All right. Let me. Give me 1 second. I'll bring this up so we can watch it. All right. Here we go. Let's see what Digital Foundry has to say. Oops. Hold on. I gotta. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. I'm having a technical difficulty here, as always. Gotta change my audio output. There we go. Okay, well, they do have a spoiler warning, but there you go.
On the eve of PlayStation 5's 3-year anniversary, headlined by Miles Morales no less, Insomniac Games has returned with a new Spider-Man adventure. Built for the PlayStation 5, Marvel's Spider-Man 2 expands on Insomniac's in-house technology, delivering a game with a larger scope and a brand new spider plot. The title in this case couldn't be more apt, with players switching between the two Spider-Men seamlessly over the course of the story as you explore a greatly expanded environment. In DF tradition then, I wanted to break down this game's new visual and gameplay features, highlighting the positives and the negatives along the way. At first glance, it may feel familiar, but trust me, there's a lot here to unpack. So grab your web shooters and let's get swinging.
Dude, that music I'm hearing, I feel like that reminds me of Horizon.
The release of Marvel's Spider-Man 2 marks Insomniac's 4th game shipped on PlayStation 5 following Miles Morales, Spider-Man Remastered, and Ratchet & Clank. It's a level of production efficiency that continues to impress, and Spider-Man 2 is perhaps the largest production of the 4, expanding the size and scope of its world while doubling down on granular detail. When the console launched with Miles Morales, there were 2 major innovations brought to the table on PS5. Fast loading and ray-traced reflections. Both of these features return in Spider-Man 2, and each have received numerous enhancements, allowing scenarios to exist which were not previously possible. Like Miles before it, Spider-Man 2 loads quickly. Fire up the game from the PS5's home menu, and you're dropped back into the game world within seconds. It's so fast it almost feels as if it was simply suspended in the background. It loads with minimal delay. They've leveraged these technologies in additional ways, however, to enhance the experience beyond what was possible in those cross-generation prequels. First off, there's traversal.
Damn, dude, I wish I could play this today.
There's this moment during the game's introductory sequence where Sandman grabs Spider-Man and hurls him across the map.
Holy
The speed at
shit.
which this occurs is disarming at first. Despite the ultra-dense urban location, the game seems to effortlessly handle flying across the map at a ridiculous speed. But it's just a taste. You're quickly given access to the web wings, as they're called, which completely change the pace of traversal in a positive way. Basically, while swinging remains Spider-Man's primary means of transport, you can now tap the triangle button to spread your wings and glide across the city. Flying across the map while trying to maintain altitude even creates a similar feeling you might get from linking together manual combos in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. This also enables the developers to deliver some rather fancy transitional tricks. Like here, after completing a mission as Miles, the game then seamlessly pulls the camera back, soars all the way across the city, before eventually parking itself on a perch, waiting for people.
That is awesome.
Both the speed of flight and the camera work itself are tremendous. Basically, the game can now pan across the entire world at a high speed.
That is so cool.
Creating an almost worst-case scenario for the game's level of detail systems, yet somehow it all manages to feel remarkably stable. The level of visible detail has been pushed out significantly. In fact, there seems to be a new midpoint between the near-field detail and distant detail, and as a result, overall world density has been boosted with less in the way of flat buildings and visible pop-in. This applies to dynamic objects as well, and the best way to showcase it involves comparisons. So for this, I decided to use the remastered version of the first Spider-Man game running in quality mode on PS5.
Oh, nice.
The time of day settings do not match up between the two games, but I selected a similar time of day. In the near field, I found that Spider-Man 2 presents a more densely populated world. Yes, traffic patterns, they are random, but the sequel presents more cars and pedestrians at any point, giving the impression of a more lively, inhabited city. Just walking down the street reinforces this perception, and it represents a significant boost. Oh, and while we're looking at the cars, I should mention that they seem to have added an actual suspension system to the vehicles. While cars did react somewhat in the prior game, they now behave much more realistically when Spider-Man lands on them. And any scenes that involve driving on top of or behind a car really showcase this well. But
I love the
there's
idea
more
he's
to the
just
city
standing there on
detail
top of
than
somebody's
this.
car.
If you look out across the cityscape, pay attention to the buildings. There now exists both additional geometric detail as well as an increase in material variety. It now manages to shake that feeling of countless textured boxes serving as the city. Plus, there's more dynamic lights in the scene, and light maps are presented better at a distance, so the whole thing just looks more coherent. Looking at it, however, I can kind of understand why initial reactions to the trailers were mixed. It still very much is designed to look like the prior games, artistically. But as I discovered, once you get in there and look closely at everything, it's clear that they've taken this design and pushed out the detail levels across the board. There's both far more detail in the distant cityscape, as well as in the nearby park, which is now overflowing with life in Spider-Man 2.
Omen says Xbox is most powerful box. Insomniac.
The area beneath
Hold my beer.
for instance, in the park appear properly
I mean, dude,
darkened and
Insomniac,
shadowed
they
in
don't fuck
Spider-Man
around,
2,
dude.
which you would expect from an area shrouded in vegetation, but it wasn't something we saw in the prior two games. But the fact that all of this detail just sort of loads in without any significant visible pop-in, though there is still some, it allows the game to just feel much more stable overall from a visual perspective. Now, the other area where the game's fast loading systems are used might be familiar to fans of the recent Ratchet & Clank. Remember, when this game first arrived, Insomniac showed off these portal jumping sequences, right? Very impressive.
Boo Boo Diffuse says I'll be streaming Spider-Man 2 on my ROG Ally, as I'll be out of town at my dad's, who has an HD projector, full haptics too,
well, they've overcome
and no
this in
lugging the
Spider-Man
PS5.
2, and there's now
Eat it,
multiple points
Xbox.
where portals are used,
How are you?
allowing players
What is that?
to
I guess
seamlessly
through
move
remote
between
play.
two completely different environments without any sort of interstitial
Whoa, holy shit.
middle section. It's an impressive accomplishment.
Oh,
When
dude.
considering the speed of traversal, the fast loading,
Dude,
and
this
the
looks
increased level of
insane
detail,
right now.
we're
Look at
looking a
that.
game that simply wouldn't be feasible on the last generation PlayStation 4. So this is kind of a quote-unquote next-gen game. It's a case where more capable hardware is used to enhance the overall game experience rather than just the visuals. But of course, there is a visual component as well, and that's ray tracing. This was a big deal when Miles Morales launched alongside the PS5, and things have improved. Firstly, unlike the prior three Insomniac games on PlayStation 5, the development team made the decision to focus exclusively on ray tracing in Spider-Man 2. That means every mode in the game uses ray tracing, and there are no options to disable it. I feel it's a positive step forward though, as it allows the team to embrace certain decisions around the presentation without worrying about fallbacks. It's essential for a game packed with gleaming skyscrapers and reflective surfaces, and it almost feels like revenge for the 2018 Puddlegate situation, if you remember that one.
Revenge.
Needless to say, thanks to ray traced reflections, puddles are no longer an issue. But before we dig into the RT reflections themselves, I want to spell out exactly what the various modes on offer bring to the table. If ray tracing is forced on in every mode, what does this mean for the player? So, Spider-Man 2 includes both a performance and a quality mode. These are expected, right? In addition, they also offer the option to output at 60 or 120 Hz. Using 120 Hz unlocks the 40 frames per second quality mode. So, quality mode can be enjoyed at a solid 30 frames per second or a solid 40 frames per second. Both use dynamic resolution scaling, ranging from 1440p all the way up to 4K. Insomniac's temporal injection then is used to handle anti-aliasing, and it does a great job. Both modes stick to their target frame rate most of the time, but there are occasionally some blips in specific sequences and on camera cuts. The 40 FPS mode also sees the resolution drop closer to 1440p more often than in the 30 FPS mode. Performance mode then is designed to target 60 frames per second, and I found that it is reasonably stable as well. This one, however, tops out at a maximum resolution of 1440p, but it can drop as low as 1008p. That's right, 1008, not 1080, at the absolute lowest. One benefit of this is, if you're using a 1440p monitor with your PS5, the game will natively output a proper 1440p image, including the HUD. Performance again is largely stable, adhering to the 60 FPS line, but alpha effects like smoke and dust, especially during these large-scale sequences, can drop the frame rate slightly below 60 FPS. There's more, however. Insomniac offers 3 VRR modes.
Oh my god.
Smooth, and uncapped.
3 VRR modes.
This is an awesome feature. Obviously, disabling
That's awesome.
VRR means you'll get judder if the frame rate falls out of its target range. But what's the difference between smooth and uncapped? The smooth option retains the frame rate cap, so if you're in performance mode, for instance, the maximum frame rate is 60 frames per second, and VRR can smooth out any drops that may occur. Uncapping the frame rate, however, allows it to go above the target, which in the case of performance mode averages out to around 65 to 80 frames per second,
Damn.
but it can go even higher. Removing the cap in quality mode then allows it to go above 40 frames per second, where it sort of averages between 40 and 60.
Holy shit.
When using the uncapped performance mode though, the game's resolution can now drop to a minimum of 936p as an absolute worst case scenario, but other modes will not drop to this point. The options menu here is so good that we want to produce an actual dedicated video on this topic, so we'll have more of this around launch.
Digital Foundry is going to have
For
fun
day
with this
players,
one.
The key here is that Spider-Man 2 offers a wide range of choices when it comes to image quality versus performance. For my money, I'd have to go with the 40 frames per second mode, as I feel it strikes a perfect middle ground between the two. When comparing them side by side, you can see that the visual quality is maintained across both options. It really is just an adjustment to the resolution. The game looks fantastic in quality mode, whether you're using 30 frames per second or 40 frames per second. And thanks to a new capture card we're testing, we're actually able to show the 40 frames per second mode here captured at 4K. Pretty cool, right? As for performance mode versus quality mode, however, there are certainly more differences. Law distance is pushed out slightly in quality mode. There's more objects receiving ray traced reflections, like here in this intro scene. The shadow quality is better in quality mode, and more.
I would
But
never
since we
notice
only have
that, bro.
20 minutes for this
Straight
initial
up.
video, we'll have more on this in a follow-up. So, you might be wondering then, if all modes feature ray tracing, what does it actually mean for the visuals themselves?
That
beyond
60 FPS
resolution?
looks so smooth,
Why
though,
did they
man.
make this decision? Well, I think a large part of this ties into the new, larger map, specifically the water. You see, it's now possible to cross the river, opening up a larger slice of New York, including Queens and Brooklyn. What this means for the player is that you'll spend more time crossing over the river. Thus, for Spider-Man 2, Insomniac opted to extend ray traced reflections to all bodies of water for the first time. Here's the thing though, water reflections are challenging. The nature of choppy water means a high water surface roughness. Rougher surfaces result in more computationally expensive reflection rendering, and prior Insomniac games relied exclusively on screen space reflections as a result. There was some confusion over this, and this is down to the choppiness of the water. You don't get perfect mirror reflections on water like this, and you can see it if you look at photographs of the real New York skyline. That's what they're attempting to simulate here. Now, if we compare it to Spider-Man Remastered, the benefit becomes rather obvious. Distant environments receive more precise and realistic reflections in Spider-Man 2. More importantly, there's no disocclusion artifacts, which is the norm for SSR. You know, when a character model occludes the environment, which is normal for a third-person game, there's no longer any screen space information to draw from, creating noticeable artifacts in the reflection. By using ray-traced water reflections in Spider-Man 2, this problem does not occur. Which is good because flying across the water is a lot of fun. You can catch a breeze sometimes, but Spider-Man even has a move that allows him to glide along the surface of the river as well. It
Oh,
really
shit.
opens up the world and feels great.
That's awesome.
But of course, ray tracing is also applied to smaller bodies of water, such as ponds and streams found in Central Park and other places throughout the environment. Given the calmness of the water in these scenarios, the reflections appear more mirror-like in Spider-Man 2. But this isn't the only enhancement that's been made to the RT reflections. So firstly, secondary reflections have been implemented. You know, where glass that is reflected within glass shows its own reflection based on an angle. If you recall, in Miles and Spider-Man Remastered, this was not the case, and looking at a reflection within a reflection just provided a color, basically. In Spider-Man 2, however, reflections of reflections are now visible if you look closely at the reflection of the glass in other glass. I'll give you a second to wrap your head around that, but it's a nice touch. Secondly, VFX are now rendered using ray tracing in many instances, so things like explosions and particle clouds are drawn into the game's reflective surfaces. Beyond that, there's simply more objects included within the BVH structure, meaning that reflections are more accurate to the surrounding environments. These reflections are also higher quality with less smearing and fizzle. For my money, it's the best example of ray traced reflections you'll find in an open world console game as of 2023. Nothing else comes close.
Damn.
But if you look beyond the reflection itself, you'll discover another major improvement: interior spaces. So, the prior Spider-Man games relied on cube maps to fake the illusion of a 3D space within the building structures, but if you look too closely, the limitations were plainly evident, right? It's just a flat texture. This is a tough problem to solve. Trying to render out a bunch of individual cubes through transparent windows, each with their own geometry, lighting, and shadows, is really expensive. Yeah, you could use Portal's map to a texture for this, but with so many rooms, I just don't think it's viable. So, what the heck are they doing? Well, after some pixel peeping, I think I have an idea. I noticed that the internal room geometry on the other side of the glass exhibits obvious checkerboarding artifacts, along with more visible aliasing versus the clean geometric edges surrounding the window. The projected shadows within the cubes are also basically perfect, suggesting we're not looking at shadow maps. Given this, I think what they're really doing here is leveraging its ray tracing support to create virtual spaces. Basically, I surmise they've stored a bunch of individual rooms within the same BVH structure as the rest of the city. And when a ray hits the glass of a building, they can then trace into these rooms that are off screen and figure out the lighting, shadows, and more. So you end up with real 3D spaces within the buildings.
Wow.
It's a remarkably elegant solution to a very difficult problem to solve.
That's
Other enhancements include an increased density of
they like
real-time
went
lights
above and
for
beyond here, guys.
This is
That's
most
crazy.
evident at night, by the way, alongside more times of day and variable weather conditions. Pre-calculated large-scale animations are also used all over the place, similar to alembic animations where complex sequences can be played back in real time during gameplay. This approach allows for some very impressive scripted sequences.
Fred Vance says, just think about how much development data will be shared internally to push constant level fidelity on other studio titles.
The strand hair system,
yeah,
for
dude,
instance, is used
you're
heavily
absolutely
in
right,
Spider-Man
Fred.
2, and main characters sport
Insomniac is clearly
exceptionally
leading the
detailed
pack here with
lines.
this
was
stuff.
also true in Miles, of course, but
And they're
now
gonna
there's
share it.
more variety of hairstyles on display, and they all look excellent.
100%.
Even characters with long flowing hair, which is something that tends to be tricky to render without clipping issues. Character model detail remains excellent, and things like the muscle deformation system that was added via a patch to Miles is also used here, so Spider-Man's suit will change based on muscle movement. Speaking of the suit, the detail level remains very high in this game, with every little detail right down to the web shooters, exhibiting delicate model and materials work. But what really caught my attention is the symbiote stuff. I don't want to spoil anything here, so it's just a couple early sequences here, but the procedural animation system that they've built to support this suit is really remarkable, perfectly capturing its organic slithering. Clothing also
looks so
benefits from
good.
cloth simulation and increased variety. For instance, I was surprised to see that characters would often wear completely different outfits from day to day as they appeared in cutscenes, which is a really nice touch. Plus, the shell texture fur shading is back on the menu and used both in clothing and on things like carpets in certain scenes.
Oh, damn.
So there's just a lot of eye candy to enjoy in Spider-Man 2. That said, I do have a couple of nitpicks I want to present. For one, I noticed occasional texture seams in certain areas. Secondly, the sand particle clouds
Texture
used for
seams,
Sandman
damn.
look a little off to me, like that typical flat billboard smoke. When in close proximity, they kick in the volumetric effects, which do look great, but from a distance, it doesn't blend that well with the scenery. I also encountered a bug where a defeated enemy went into a horizontal T-pose and began to float up through the scenery towards the heavens.
No, dude, that's part of the game, bro.
Mind you, and it was really the only bug that I encountered.
Miles sent him to heaven.
It was funny, so I wanted to mention it. Of course,
That's
another
actually
aspect
awesome.
of the presentation centers on audio. This is more difficult to showcase in a video like this, but this is what I noticed. As expected, the surround sound experience is sublime with great use of
Omen
weird
says, "We'll let the
and
games
hype
do the
channels
talking."
thanks to
Jim
the
was
system's
right.
Support for Atmos output.
Miles
But
is
there
gonna
are
send
some
him to
other
heaven,
more
bro.
Subtle things worth mentioning. For instance, sound propagation has been added, so sound
Yeah, they're gonna-
voices
the
are now
Xbox are gonna-
influenced by their
Xbox are
position
gonna run
in
with
the
that,
world
bro.
and the materials around you. Like in this case, listen to MJ's voice as you move through the different rooms of the house. All of this is calculated in real time.
Let me know what you find. I'm gonna keep looking at these photos you've never shown me. Oh, that's horrible.
Gonna need a deep 6 on these.
Damn.
Need more sides.
Purchase shop.
Who's on sausage? Can someone get on that?
It's often subtle, but it adds an extra layer of realism to the presentation, and I appreciate that. But unfortunately, we're coming up on our time limit for this video, so let me share a couple final thoughts. For starters, the technology powering Spider-Man 2 remains excellent. It's a nice evolution of Insomniac's work on prior games, and the fact that they got another game out already is genuinely mind-blowing. It doesn't completely rewrite the visual identity of the game, but what's here looks amazing, and there are noticeable leaps over the last generation games, often in areas beyond the visuals. As for the game itself, I think they've done a great job here as well. Early on, you're introduced to all the various side missions and mechanics, which aren't bad, mind you, but I was moderately concerned about padding. Well, it turns out you can pretty much ignore these if you choose, and just stick to the main plot. So if you're not someone that wants to engage with a bunch of side quests, you don't really need to do so most of the time. That said, the side missions that are here do feature more variety than the first game, but the main story is what excited me the most, and it definitely delivers. In fact, the storytelling is a huge highlight here. Without a doubt, this is the best story Insomniac has told in any of their games to date. It's so well executed, and as a fan of Die Spinne, I was delighted with how things play out. So, if you're a fan of the Spider and happen to own a PlayStation 5, what can I say? You're in for a treat. The game is great, the technology impressive, and the whole package just feels remarkably polished. It's been a tough year for big game releases, in terms of polish anyways, but Insomniac has absolutely nailed it with Spider-Man 2. And hopefully this video was also enjoyable. So, if you liked it, be sure to
Good
let
shit,
us know,
man.
and
That
we'll
is
see you
some
next time.
tremendous greatness.
Good shit. You love to hear it, man. Love to see it. Insomniac does it again, bro. They do it again. Insomniac going next level with ray tracing. I mean, the performance, it all sounds amazing. It does. I mean, it really seems like this game is truly living up to everything we had hoped for. And I think a lot of people had questions whether or not Insomniac was going to be able to, again, kind of bring it all together. The expectations are sky high. They've been impressing people with what they can do on the PS5 since the PS5 launched, and it's good to see that they haven't hit a ceiling yet, man. They're still doing it. They're still doing it. So that was a really good video by Digital Foundry. They obviously always do a great job, and thoroughly enjoyed them really kind of combing through everything. I mean, they did point out a couple. He pointed out a couple of things, as he called it, nitpicks, but generally speaking, it seems like they are genuinely impressed with it's about the T-flops. Are you happy now, MBG? I mean, yeah, I'm excited, dude. I am very excited. St. John said right after that the game has already been patched after that. Insomniac goes, damn. Well, that's good to know. It gets even better for launch. Good shit. Kendall Fire 22 with a $5 super chat saying Bethesda announced Pete Hines' retirement at the exact same moment that the Spider-Man 2 review embargo lifted. Really? Damn. I'm not surprised. Of course Pete Hines wants to retire, man. He's cashing out. He's cashing out. Microsoft's got it. Microsoft's got it. Yeah, Jim Ryan and Pete Hines, they're piecing together, bro. They're like, yeah, our work here's done. Pete didn't get fired. You're saying he didn't get fired? I don't know. Are people speculating that Pete Hines got let go? I mean, you know, I will say, and I'm not, we won't know, right? I will say that some of the leaked emails we went over, there were a couple in there, it seemed, from Pete Hines clearly expressing his frustration with Microsoft and with Phil Spencer. Like it wasn't, he didn't hide it. And I don't know. Maybe Phil was just like, this guy's got to go. Or I don't know. I could believe he just wanted to be done. Maybe. I don't know. He was complaining and self-snitching. Shit. Damn, dude. Saying they get rid of Pete Hines but keep Bobby Kotick. Bobby Kotick's going too. I didn't know that though. I had no idea that Pete Hines announced his retirement today. Guess he's calling it a career as well. But yeah, man, we're seeing some good stuff here for Spider-Man 2. And I'm honestly, I'm ready. I am. I'm more than ready. I mean, seeing this gameplay, I could see why some people didn't want to watch the Digital Foundry video, because I didn't think it was like really spoilery, but I get that they're just showing stuff that you're going to experience in the game, and a lot of people just feel like I'd rather just see it myself. But seeing it definitely gets me excited. And I mean, a lot of people give Sony flack sometimes for games like this, where it's like, oh, one and done, you know, I'm going to be done with Spider-Man 2 in a weekend. And I'll never understand that mentality, man. I won't. I'll never understand that mentality of, who cares if you complete the game in a weekend? Who cares if you complete it in a week? Like, the thing that matters is the experience. You know, how good was the game? How much did you enjoy it? You know, I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand, like, you want to have a game that you can enjoy just as much for as long as possible. But like I said, man, for me, it'll clearly be worth the wait. MBG 2024 will be all the games that Jim Ryan and Herman Hulst approved. Yeah, you're correct about that. You are correct about that. 2024 is going to be the year. I see let's see. Okay. Huh. So one of the things that kind of stood out to me with what Digital Foundry was pointing out is, dude, the traversal, I don't know why I can't say that word anymore. What's wrong with me? The traversal in Spider-Man 2 looks really good. It does. It looks really, really good. You're saying the ACG review was the best one? Was it? Should we watch ACG's review? What do you guys think? Should we just chat for a little bit longer, or should we watch ACG's review? You guys tell me. You're dying to know what's next from Sony Studios now. We'll learn. We'll find out. Some of you guys are saying yes. Some are saying no. Well, let me go see how long the video is first. If it's like super long, I probably won't. If it's not too long, maybe we can. Fred's saying let's chat. I mean, yeah, that I kind of didn't realize how long the Digital Foundry video was too. Subtext with a $5 super chat. He says this DF review was amazing. Can't believe people said it looks the same. I'm avoiding most reviews because I don't want to hear too much, but damn. I mean, Insomniac is proving the haters wrong once again. Surprise, surprise. Press Alpha says MBG still finding reasons to cry. Bro, no, I don't know if you're I don't know if you just entered the chat or not, bro, but no one here is crying. We're celebrating, man. We're happy. We're excited. I mean, are you not paying attention? Come on, bro. But yeah, I mean, Insomniac is just proving the haters wrong again. A lot of people were really hard on Spider-Man 2 when we saw the gameplay reveal in May. You know, people still trying to clown it in the months to come after that. And I mean, look at what they're doing. Look at what they're achieving. Crying out, I'm shedding tears of happiness. Crying with laughter and joy. Yo, Monday stream. Yeah, I know it's a little bit out of nowhere, but I wanted to be sure to cover the Spider-Man 2 reviews. I was too excited to wait. Oh, man. Haters in shambles. Yeah. Honestly, though. Let me see something real quick. No, it's all good. Press Alpha. Hey man, I just hope you enjoy the streams. That's the only thing I care about, really. I just want people to enjoy the streams, enjoy the content, have a good time. Let me see here. Sorry, I'm just looking around right now, seeing what's going on. Omen86 with another super chat. Appreciate that, buddy. You're saying, when I was young, my mom got a new boyfriend. First thing he did was buy me a PlayStation 2 plus 3 games for day one, even though he wasn't a gamer. Thought it was really something. Jim gave me the same feeling. Quirky, cool dad. Well, that's a nice story, Omen. I mean, I feel like the PS2, when I think back on it, they're dude, Omen really is. He wants Jim Ryan to be his dad, bro. He does. Omen really needs that. I mean, I don't know what else to say, Omen. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what to say. What I will say about the PS2 though is, looking back on the PS2, some of the best memories. Some of the best memories, man. Honestly, I mean, I'll never forget walking into the GameStop and finally knowing I'm getting that PlayStation 2. My level of excitement was so high. And I actually do remember the first video game I ever played on the PS2. It was, believe it or not, Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Probably too young. No, not probably. I was definitely too young to be playing that. But it was a great time. Let me tell you, I loved every second of it. Gavin says, I live near Jim, Omen. I'll see if I can ask. Thank you, Omen. Thank you for sharing your beloved memories with me and the stream, and how you need Jim to be your father. Dude, Jim, this is why Jim retired, man. Omen, this is why Jim retired. He's like, I can't deal with this fan base anymore. They're getting out of hand. It's becoming too much. By the way, guys, we still have over 600 people here hanging out. Can you do me a big favor? Show me your excitement for Spider-Man 2. Show me how happy you are to see that it's clearly going to be everything we hoped for. Hit that like button. I think we could do it. I think we could hit 400 likes. I'd really appreciate that. It would help the stream out tremendously. So thank you to everybody who watches and everybody who hits that like button. Jim Ryan was a good CEO, just lacked the charisma. Yeah, he definitely didn't have much charisma, but that's the thing, man, is when you're in positions like this, a lot of times, I wouldn't even say a lot of times. I'd say all the time. It's more about, are you performing your job well, right? Like, how good are you at your job? Having the charisma is just kind of a bonus. Alex Mercer, the prototype, again saying, man, I am ready for this game. Got my receipt just waiting in front of my local GameStop like a weirdo. Face pressed against the window till Friday. Damn, be careful, man. They might call the cops on you or something. Be safe out there, Alex Mercer. Be safe, bro. But I hear you, man. I mean, the game can't come soon enough. I feel like this is kind of torture. Like, you know, we're so close, but still so far. We have to wait till the end of the week. But this is definitely the last big push, the last really wave of momentum that Spider-Man 2 is going to get. And it's as good, like the wave is as big as it could possibly be right now. It is. I mean, I know there are people, again, I know we've been somewhat negative about PlayStation lately. We've been critical of them, rightly so. But this is what it's all about, man. In my opinion, this is what it's all about. This is why I have a PS5. This is why I remember back when I was still kind of part of the Xbox gang and I'm like seeing the trailers for Spider-Man and I'm like, dude, honestly, back then I was in denial, man. I really was. Like, I was looking at these Spider-Man trailers and I was seeing like the just insane levels of hype that PlayStation was generating. I'm like, well, it's not that good, you know, like it's pretty good, but whatever, you know, I'm not that into Spider-Man. I remember I made this video. I think the video is actually still on my channel. I was a little bit late to Spider-Man. I think I was about a year late to it. And I think I titled my video, because it was so true. I titled my video, I can't believe I chose Xbox over this. And that's honestly, I made that video because that's really how I felt, man. Like, knowing I was a year late to Spider-Man and I played it, I'm like, oh my God, like this is insane. Like, how is this game this good? How is Spider-Man this good? And we've come such a long way since then. We've all done the Xbox cope, LMAO, when we were green. I mean, that's what's weird to me is like, I still get people that come by and are like, you're going to switch sides, aren't you, MBG? You just want to switch sides. It's just a matter of time. Give it another 6 months. Give it a year. Yeah, how's it feel that they got Activision Karma? And it's just like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, it's so weird. I mean, I get it. Maybe because I should react to that video right now. I don't know. I'm got to save that for some members content. Devil, got to save it for the members content. But yeah, it's just so funny to me because it's like, dude, the console wars are over. It's more like platform wars now, and you know, who's doing what, who's offering what, and decide what you want. And this, you know, if I go back to Xbox, it's not like hey guys, I'm making a big announcement today. I'm going back to Xbox. It's way less exciting than that. It's just straight up like, well, I mean, there's a game there that I want to play now, so I'm going to go try it out on Game Pass on my PC. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just so much has changed. It's just not, it just doesn't feel the same anymore. And yeah, I don't know. I prefer this, frankly. You know, that's what it comes down to is, I know this hasn't been the best year for PlayStation. There's no denying that. This has not been the best year for PlayStation, but this really is what I prefer. It's not about some kind of loyalty thing. You know? I also just realized that what happened to my member ticker over here? I gotta fix this. I don't know why this glitched out. I just realized it's not actually accurate. We are sitting at 26 members, but for some reason it went back to 0. But yeah, man, this is what I prefer. Truthfully, it's Spider-Man's going to be a $70 game, and let me tell you, man, I'm ready to spend that $70. I am. because I know it's going to be worth it. Every dollar spent is going to be worth it. Wolverine next, and that's when MBG goes crazy. Dude, that is when I go crazy, man. Let me tell you, that is when I go. I cannot wait to see the next Wolverine trailer. I cannot wait. Spider-Man to me is the appetizer. It is. It's the appetizer. Sky Toronto, a member for 5 months, says, hi, MBG, was waiting for my trusted reviewers to buy Spider-Man 2. Happy with the reviews and pre-ordered it just now. Well done, Insomniac. Yeah, and that's the whole thing, man. That's another reason why I think people... That's another, I would say, benefit to having a team like Insomniac that, and having a team that's this consistent is it gives people more confidence in pre-ordering a game, in anticipating a game and not worrying about it. And there's a reason why Sony says, you know what, we're not going to wait till the day before to put out the reviews. There's a reason why Sony says, let's put out the reviews almost a week ahead of time. This is why, because that's a sign of confidence. They know what people want. People want quality. People will pay for quality. This is not something new. This is not something that's exclusive to gaming. It's just how it works. People will pay for quality. Sony knows this, so they come out a week ahead of time and they're like, you know what, Insomniac? Unleash the beast. Show the world what you've done. And you read the reviews. We just watched Digital Foundry's review. Sky, you're saying you waited for your go-to reviewers, and they're all saying good things. Like the only negatives that are being pointed out here are like minor things. Minor things. So you love to see it. You do. Kilver with a $5 super chat says, Xbots are now comparing Arkham City Metascore to Spider-Man 2. How pathetic. How pathetic and sad, dude. Listen, are they aware, the Xbox fanboys that are doing this, are they aware that Batman Arkham City isn't an exclusive Xbox game? It's playable on PlayStation. So when you sit there and you say, look, Arkham City's better because it got it. What is Arkham City sitting at, by the way? Let's go see Batman Arkham City. I'm curious. It's sitting at a... Holy shit, I didn't know it was that high. That's really impressive. A 94. Sitting at least for the that's the Xbox 360. Is it? I'm assuming it's the same on PS3. Yep. Wait, hold on. The Wii U version, even the Wii U version is sitting at an 85. Holy shit, I didn't know I had a Wii U version. I can't find the PS3. I guess it's just for the 360. So sitting at a 94. I mean, what? You know what they should do? They should talk, if they're going to talk about Batman Arkham City, right? And be like, Batman Arkham City is better than Spider-Man 2 because it's sitting at a 94 on Metacritic and Spider-Man 2 is only sitting at a 91. Dude, they may as well be bringing out God of War Ragnarok. God of War Ragnarok sitting at a 94. That's a PlayStation game sitting at a 94. But don't they realize it's not an Xbox exclusive, dude? Like it's not an Xbox studio that made Batman. Oh my God, these guys are fucking stupid. Holy shit, like, who are these people? Why are they out here doing this? It's quite sad. But thank you for making me aware, Kilver. See, that's why I love you guys. I don't have to use Twitter. I don't have to go on Twitter. You guys will just report to me. Hey, BG, we know you're not on Twitter anymore, but just so you know, there are some Xbots out there comparing Arkham City's score to Spider-Man 2. Okay, then don't... You know what I'll tell them? Cool, man. Cool. What Xbox game's sitting at a 94? Did you like Starfield? Was Starfield good? Yeah, you enjoyed Starfield. You hyped up Starfield. It's sitting at an 83. Just so you know, Arkham City fucking destroys Starfield. Who would have thought? See how stupid it is? Yeah, that's them. That's how stupid they are. Holy shit, man. You muted every Spider-Man related word on your Twitter. Smart man. Smart man. Omen86 says, obviously, I'm laying it on a bit thick, but PlayStation is more than a company. I can sense Omen's passion just coming through, man. PlayStation is more than a company. It's part of my life since I was young. That's emotional. There is emotional attachment. No, dude, I hear you, man. I know it sounds like it's a bit much, but I'm right there with you. I mean, I have this poster hung up behind me of all the PlayStation consoles stacked because that is basically, that's my childhood up until now in gaming. I've played other consoles, of course, I love the 360. I enjoyed the Xbox One to a degree. I played the N64. I had multiple Nintendo handhelds growing up, had the GameCube. I played the NES way back. I don't even remember what that was like, but I know I played it. And it's like, dude, for me, the PS1 is where the PS1 is where I really kind of tried to get into video games. I mean, really tried to get into them, but it was really the PS2 where I knew I was into video games. You know what I mean? Like the PS1 is what kind of got its hooks into me and got me interested, but the PS2 is where I knew like this is it. This is it. So I'm right there with you, Omen. There are a ton of memories, and they're good ones too. They're good ones. So I appreciate that, bud. We have Dark Horse with a $5 super chat, and he says, are you aware these same comparisons have been done to every Xbox IP that has come out this year? Dark Horse, I am. Let me ask you this. When these comparisons are done, what do the Xbox, people say? Do they defend it, or do they just ignore it? Do they just huddle in a corner and say, please stop hurting me? Or do they get angry and aggressive and defend and push, and they defend it? Yeah. Dude, I've been out here saying that all of these comparisons are fucking stupid. Like these are morons on the internet that the only way they can get attention is by doing this dumb shit. And it's not just Xbox fans. It's PlayStation fans too. And they just keep kind of slinging shit back and forth at each other and they get nowhere. But the point is, man, like if I'm going to catch wind of some of this shit, I'm going to react to it. The chances are, like, dude, I've caught a couple of things out there where people who don't give a flying fuck about Forza, okay, they don't care about Forza, they don't care about Xbox, and they're shit talking it. It's like, dude, I get it, man. Do your thing. I think it's unnecessary. I think it's a bit overly aggressive, but do your thing. But listen, here's the reality right now, Dark Horse. Dude, Xbox fans are fucking losing their minds. Okay? They are losing their fucking, not all of them. I mean, the Xbox fanboys is who I'm talking about. They're losing their minds. And it's like, they're coming to like my channel on streams like this and trying to like mass downvote it and whatnot and talk shit. And it's like, look, man, you're an idiot. I don't know what to tell you. And if they're like, maybe there are crazed PlayStation fans doing that to like Xbox content creators, but I'm not them. I'm not witnessing that. I'm only over here on my end. And that's the shit I'm witnessing. So I don't know what, I just don't know what you want me to tell you, man. Like if you want to say that, oh, well, it's fine that they're comparing the Metacritic score of Arkham City to Spider-Man 2 because, they had that shit done to them. It's like, okay, well, I guess two wrongs make a right. Is that what you want me to say? Like, that's not, two wrongs don't make a right, man. It's just, it is what it is. Like if you see, like, here's the point. If you see somebody doing something stupid and it bothers you and your solution, your answer to that is, I should do something just as stupid. Now there's just two stupid people, So it's like, I don't know what to tell anybody, man. I don't. Just do you. That's what I'll say. Just do what you do. Because at the end of the day, this is just the internet and none of it fucking matters. I mean, that's the reality. Like, none of it matters, man. All the dunks and ratios and wins that people get, dude, it doesn't fucking mean anything. It adds up to nothing. Don't people realize that by now? Microsoft is still a $1 trillion company. Sony's still a multi-billion dollar company. And yeah, and the world keeps spinning. So Omen86 with another chat. He says, also want to thank MBG and his community. Following reignited my passion for gaming, which made me spend more time with some old friends again. That's awesome to hear, man. That's awesome. I'm really happy to hear that, Omen. That's actually quite surprising. I mean, I honestly, I would not sit here and anticipate that people are gonna, come to my channel and talk gaming and find that they're gonna, get their passion for gaming reignited. But that's an awesome thing to hear, dude. So saying it even drove you to hang out with some old friends again. Good shit. Love to hear it, man. I appreciate your support, Omen. You've been supporting the channel a lot, dude, since you came across it, and it means a lot, bud. Really have to thank you for that. So no, Omen, thank you. Thank you, and thank the community. MBG, I have seen people attack those excited for the portal, but will then claim that they were provoked as soon as you push back against them. That's the only argument they have, just so you know, Fred. Like, this is why I've just said I'm out. Like, I'm dipping out, bro. I'm a head out. And I did. Because anytime I've engaged with people where it's like, hey, let me tell you something. They're like, yeah, but you did it first. Or they started it. And it's like, oh, okay, I see what this is. And it's just not worth it, man. It's not worth it. It's dumb. It's very dumb. But, let me ask you guys. What do you think so far, based off of the reviews, based off of everything we've covered today? Spider-Man 2, Game of the Year contender? Spider-Man 2, Game of the Year 2023, maybe? I'll tell you right now, dude, if Spider-Man 2 wins Game of the Year, oh, man, the meltdowns. Oh, Lord have mercy on our souls if Spider-Man 2 wins Game of the Year this year. Yeah, you consider Baldur's Gate 3 came out this year. You consider Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Holy shit. I'd actually be kind of scared if Look, I think Spider-Man 2 is absolutely a Game of the Year contender. I think that's obvious. But man, if it won, I would be genuinely afraid of what's going to happen. When it comes to online discourse and conversation, it's going to be a war, man. It's going to be a war zone. I can't determine. From what I'm seeing, it seems obvious it's going to be a Game of the Year contender. I'll have to play it myself to determine if I really think it has what it takes. If it has what it takes. Dark Horse, you're saying, dog, it's about keeping that same energy. Yeah, well, you know what I've learned, Dark Horse? I'll tell you what I've learned. Doesn't fucking matter if you keep the same energy. You know that? Does anybody notice this? Keep that same energy, man. Where's that same energy? Dude, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I could say exactly what these people want to hear. Do you think they're just going to turn around and say, yeah, you're right, man. Thank you. No. They planted their fucking flag and they said, this is the hill we die on. So that's why I just say, well, whatever. You do you then. It's not about keeping the same energy. Listen, man. As far as I'm concerned, I am keeping the same energy. I came out when the Starfield reviews dropped, and that shit did not hit in 88. That shit did not hit in 89 or a 90, or certainly nowhere above a 90. Did I shit on it? Did I come out and say, wow, man, God of War Ragnarok fucking shits on Starfield? Even Bethesda's past games shit on their own new games. No, I didn't say any of that. I simply said, hey, man, I expected a little bit more, but it still seems like a good game. And I don't know why people are going so ballistic on it. It seems like people who are excited for it are going to enjoy it and have a good time. That's what I said. You can go back. It's in the streams. They won't go back. They won't clip that shit. Why would they? They won't clip any of that shit. But it's there. And those of you who know, you know. So when it comes to this idea that, hey, well, MBG, I thought you said review scores don't matter. You said during Starfield that, hey, review scores don't matter. Don't let it determine if you want to play a game. Play it if you want. Yeah. I'm keeping the same energy right here. Who gives a shit what Spider-Man 2 gets? Play it if you want or don't. I'll tell you right now, there's a whole group of people out there that don't give a flying fuck that Spider-Man 2 is sitting in a 91 on Metacritic because they're not going to play it because they're not interested in Spider-Man 2. They're not interested in Spider-Man. So it's like, yeah. So, I mean, if you're talking about keeping the same energy, man, I'll let you guys be the judge of it, but I feel like I'm keeping the same energy. I'm personally just excited that that Spider-Man 2 is reviewing well. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I appreciate the super chats though, man. Top Shotta, you're saying, if I was to ask what was the best reviewed superhero game, then Spider-Man versus Batman is a valid comparison. Yeah, I agree with that. That is a valid comparison because you're asking a very specific question. What is the best reviewed superhero game? And to be fair, dude, like Batman Arkham City clearly is the high watermark. I mean, that was Rocksteady fucking peaked, but unfortunately, Arkham Knight, I think, reviewed really well too and is considered good, but I think a lot of people were like, nah, dude, Arkham City is the game, right? But Rocksteady, I don't know, man. They seem to be struggling. But here's the thing. You know what I'm going to be comparing? Listen, I get it. Like, we'll compare. If we ask that question, what is the best superhero game, the highest reviewed superhero game, talking about Batman versus Spider-Man, yeah, it makes sense. But in the context of how excited I am for this game from Insomniac, it doesn't really mean much to me. You know what I am going to compare, though? Dude, when Wolverine drops, I want to see the differences between how Insomniac handles Wolverine and what they're doing in that game versus what they're doing here in Spider-Man 2. Now, that's going to be a hell of a comparison. That is going to be fun to see. Because I feel like one of the things that I think is lacking with Spider-Man 2, and it's not its fault, it's a sequel. It's not its fault. It's just by design. One of the things lacking with Spider-Man 2 is the feeling of something totally fresh because it's Spider-Man. You know, I mean, we're coming off of Miles Morales and remastered. And again, it's exactly what I want from a sequel. It looks like it's going to take things to the next level. Narratives, the story sounds like it's going to be incredible. But the thing that really gets me very excited about Wolverine is knowing that it's going to be completely new. I mean, the whole like from top to bottom, it's just going to be completely fresh, completely new. Insomniac's take on Wolverine. This ain't Spider-Man no more. It's Wolverine now. That's very exciting. Dark Horse says, this is how you end up in a Griffin video. Just saying, this is where people try to show that you need to be more self-aware. Well, I mean, listen, at this point, Dark Horse, I'm going to have to ask you to be more specific, right? There have been times where, yeah, I haven't kept the same energy, obviously, right? And I've been called out for it. But if we're talking like recently, if we're talking in the past 6 months or so, I think I've done a pretty good job, mostly keeping that same energy, right? But I'm not doing it because I'm trying to fucking get brownie points from people. Because, dude, like I said, people like Griffin and others, dude, they fucking love this shit. Are you kidding me? These people, they love this shit. Like, dude, without people not keeping the same energy, what would they have to talk about? They'd have nothing to fucking talk about. They'd have no content. So, as far as I'm concerned, it's a vicious cycle, man. We complete them. That's how it goes. But if you're talking about keeping the same energy when it comes to reviews and talking about this shit, look, man, I've already said it. Reviews don't matter at the end of the day. They can be helpful, of course. But when someone determines, I'm excited for this game, I want to play this game, go do it. What's stopping you? Like, who gives a shit what people have to say on the internet? Who gives a shit what a reviewer has to say? The only thing you might want to find out is if the game is broken and unplayable. That's probably the most important thing. If the game's not broken and unplayable and you're excited for it, then who the fuck cares what anybody has to say? Go enjoy yourself. That's literally what I told people to do with Starfield. And I'm going to tell people to do the exact same thing with Spider-Man. Who cares what the reviews are saying? If you've already determined that you're excited for this game, go for it. You just now have the backing of, well, hey, man, if it makes you feel any better, you don't seemingly have anything to worry about. There are literally no negative reviews. But, I can't say that. Now I'm fanboying, guys. Sorry. Pointing out a fact that there are no negative reviews is, fanboying now. Although I am curious, did the Metacritic score change at all? Nope, still sitting at 120. All positive reviews. Oh, man. Dark Horse, you're saying, what I'm trying to say is you're letting the hype get to you as a whole slate of live service games that could be horrible, and they're going to come at you. That's why I'm saying this, MBG. No disrespect. No, I hear you, Dark Horse. I know. I'm Dark Horse. To be clear, I'm not bringing the negative energy your way. And I appreciate you letting me know, because I was genuinely curious, like, what you specifically meant. But that's the thing, dude, is I'm a PlayStation focused YouTube channel. Okay. The truth is, the only way that certain people are going to stop, giving me grief and giving me shit is if I either A, quit YouTube, or B, completely rebrand my channel to where, like, I'm a cooking channel now. Yeah, I don't even fucking cook, but you get what I'm saying. You have to understand that if Sony does something that is not in favor of the general public and is considered unpopular, right? And it makes it easy for these people to pounce on it, then anybody that is even remotely associated with that is likely going to be collateral damage, experience that collateral damage to some extent. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I've admitted, there have been times in the past where I very clearly have, I've gotten ahead of myself. I've gotten overly hyped about things. I've gotten arrogant about things, and I've learned, I've lived and I've learned. But I've also learned that there's a whole nother side to it where there's what I'm doing, what I should be taking accountability for, and then there's the world isn't fair, people are not fair, and it turns out they're not looking for you to change, they're not looking for you to apologize, they're not looking for you to do things differently. They just, they're going to do what they do. And I just think that that's something that's worth considering as well. But, Mrs. MVG's cooking. Yo, I'm getting beef stew tonight. I'm excited. Speaking of cooking, Mrs. MBG said she was going to be making some beef stew. I'm like, fuck yeah, I love beef stew. Haven't had beef stew in a long time. I don't really know how to cook, honestly. Like, there are a very select few things I can cook, and I'm not good at it. I could learn. I just don't really have a desire to learn, no. I don't know. Cooking doesn't appeal to me. I find people who like cooking, I find them interesting, because it's like, I don't know. I wish I could feel that. But there are people that are like so passionate about food and cooking, and it's like, I can't quite, I can't put myself in that headspace. But hey, man, BG is the hunter. I mean, yeah, I don't know. You talk about the hunting and gathering days. I guess the hunters were not the ones cooking. But hey, man, we all work together, right? We all have our strengths. We all have our weaknesses. Salvazard06, thank you, buddy. You're saying Wolverine can be Insomniac's The Last of Us, a dark narrative, or that's what we hope, right? Was hyped for Spider-Man 2 regardless of the critic reviews. Yeah, man, it seems like you can't go wrong with Spider-Man 2 at this point. But you know what, dude? You talk about, well, I don't know if I would say, it's a tough comparison to make, like the idea of, wait, you know what? Hold on. Maybe that's not that crazy. Because I was going to say, oh yeah, comparing Wolverine to The Last of Us, but then think about Logan. There's actually a lot of similarities. There is. There's like a ton of fucking similarities between some of the story beats and the characters between Logan and The Last of Us, and people were even like highlighting that. And so this idea that Insomniac can come out and make a darker game. One of the things I'm most excited about for Spider-Man 2 is knowing it's going to be slightly darker. You know, it's going to have a darker tone because of Venom and the symbiote and, you know, emotional damage that I'm assuming and trauma that's going to ensue. I don't mean to laugh, but it's like that's clearly going to be part of the story, and that's what's going to make it so gripping in a way. And listening to all the reviews, it really seems like Insomniac is going, I mean, they are really achieving something here with this narrative. That's what people are saying. It's the best that they've ever done. And I imagine they're going to try to go even further with Wolverine. And that to me is what is exciting about Wolverine is it has to be rated M. It has to be, right? And it has to be darker. It has to have gore. It has to have darker themes. These are all things that I think people absolutely expect with a Wolverine game, especially coming off of Logan and stuff like that. So yeah, this will be Insomniac's opportunity to really kind of go in a different direction than anything we've seen before. And that is very exciting when you consider how talented they are. Fred, you're saying just imagine if they eventually touch on the Old Man Logan comics. Hell yeah, dude. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Devil Shooter says they are righteous. They are self-righteous hypocrites. I can point to a ton of shit they bullshit on. Unlike most people, I knew their channels before they blew up. Yeah, Devil. Yeah, I mean, that's something that's worth pointing out too, man, is people are people are complicated, but in some instances they're not. People are kind of predictable. And sometimes you realize that there are these types of people where it's like, eventually you learn that there are everybody's going to run into a wall at some point. Yeah, dude, that's amazing. Saying, bro, I'm literally making beef stew while I'm listening to you. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Good shit. You're saying that was meant for Gaming Survivor, but thanks for reading. No, I know. I know what you're talking about, Devil Shooter. I'm just saying that, like, eventually everybody fucks up and makes a mistake. That's all I'm trying to say. Everybody fucks up and makes a mistake, and they run into a wall. And I think the only real difference maker is there are people who refuse to bend, who refuse to acknowledge it, and refuse to take accountability. And then there are people that do. And that seems to be a real separating factor. And, listen, there are just certain ways that people handle themselves on the internet where the thing about the internet is you can hide things, right? Like you can only show what you want people to see. You can hide certain things. And in doing that, you can create a very specific narrative. You can create a very specific thing that everyone will focus on. It's the nature of the internet, that you have that ability. Apologies, buddy. I cannot read your name. It's in a language I can't read. But you've been a member for 5 months, so shout out to person whose name I cannot pronounce or even read. And he says, "Let's go. I will wait for Spider-Man for 4 years to be on PC." LMAO. Oh, you're saying it's Mufasa from Iraq again. Love you, MVG. Enjoy Spider-Man. Oh, I'm sorry, man. I should have read that before I went on that. Yeah, it's Mufasa. All right, man. You could let's go. I will wait for Spider-Man for 4 years on PC. Hell yeah, dude. I love that there are people out there that, and I'm not saying it's you, Mufasa. I know you're just messing around, but I'm saying Mufasa. I'm sorry, man. I'm saying it wrong again. Mustafa. I'm sorry. I said Mufasa. I'm sorry, man. Bear with me, Mustafa. Bear with me. This man is over here probably like face palming like MBG, bro. Come on. I'm sorry, Mustafa. But it is so funny to me that I still see people coming out saying shit like that. Like they think they're getting under people's skin. Yeah, pronunciation debuff -20. -20. Get some Arabic courses. Oh man, I know. But yeah, they come out and they say this shit where they're like, yeah, I'll wait for this game on PC. Like, no one fucking cares. Why do you think anybody cares that you're going to wait for it on PC? And like, just people come out here and they announce this shit thinking that like, yeah, wait till they hear what I'm going to do. Like, good for you, man. The rest of us are going to be fucking buying this game and playing it on our PS5s, and we're going to have a damn good time. So you do you. Like I said, man, you do you, but I just can't help but laugh a little bit. It's jokes, MVG. It's jokes. I know. It's all jokes. It's all jokes. It always is. You know what isn't a joke, though? You know what isn't a joke? Spider-Man 2 better than Starfield. That ain't a joke. That's dead serious. That's dead serious right there. Spider-Man 2 better than Starfield. You better believe it. I am kidding, obviously. I am kidding. But you know right now, a lot of people saying that shit dead serious. Dead serious. Some people in the chat right there are like, no, that is a fact, MBG. That is a fact. You know, I want to go back to something that Dark Horse said, though, because he pointed out something interesting. He says, MBG, look, you're getting ahead of yourself. The reason why you're getting ahead of yourself, you're getting super hyped for Spider-Man 2. You're expressing your excitement. You're getting a little bit like, yeah, man, PlayStation greatness. And I get it. It's hard not to, because it's like, yeah, look, they're doing what I want them to do. I'm happy. I think it's exciting. I think it's great. And you're pointing out that there's going to be people, like, if Sony puts out a bad live service game, you're almost framing it as if people are now going to come and attack me for that. And do you see what I'm saying? Like, in a way, I'm kind of glad you brought this up, because let me ask you guys, because I know a lot of you guys that are here right now, you're here for almost every stream. How many streams have I done in the past 12 months where I have been extremely critical on what Sony's doing with live service games? I mean, how many do you think I've done? Right? Exactly. A lot. Yes, probably too many, frankly. A lot. Now, there's also been times where I've tried to be optimistic and say maybe it could be good. There could be some good things that come out of this. But the point I'm trying to get at is that if that day comes, okay, maybe next year, if Sony puts out a really mediocre, terrible, laughed at live service game, when people are clowning on it and possibly throwing me in the mix, they will not acknowledge that ever. You understand? So you want to talk about keeping the same energy, man? Listen, Dark Horse, and this isn't just for you, but a lot of people are paying attention to people out there that don't keep that same energy either. They just don't seem to understand that they just are winning over the crowd. You're winning over the crowd. Or you just float from one side to the other, whatever it is. People do that too, you know? So, it is what it is, bro. Marathon is going to kill COD? I don't think so. That'd be quite the shocker, wouldn't it? We got Dance Me a Number, member for 5 months, says, is there anyone who doubted Spider-Man 2 was going to be an excellent game? Even as we talk about their downfall, Sony puts out another masterpiece. What is happening to Sony? Puts out a fucking 91 Metacritic exclusive. No, I know, man. I don't think anybody doubted Spider-Man 2. I don't think anybody doubted Insomniac. I just think that there are people who, you know, want to hate on it, which is always going to happen. But I mean, it could have went the other way, man. I do want to highlight that. It could have went the other way. Dark Horse, you're saying Colt Eastwood and the bots get called out by those same people, MBG, even if they're cool with them? Well, I mean, yeah, but you also have to understand that there is still an agenda at the end of the day. I don't doubt that. But there is an agenda at the end of the day, and the agenda is what's in it for them. What's in it for them? This is why I've always said, man, listen, I get it. To a lot of people, maybe this is just a joke to them. Maybe MBG is a joke to them. MBG is a clown. MBG is a fanboy, whatever. But you know what? I'm not out here fucking sucking off of other people's content. I'll tell you that much. I'm not out here every time I stream saying, okay, I got to bring up the fucking, my YouTube page and we got to just watch videos together because that's all I'm good for. That's all I can offer you. Sorry. So listen, I get it. Maybe people, and I see that people like that shit. They like that content, and that's fine. I'm not saying I have a problem with that content. I'm just saying I couldn't do that because it's just, it would be difficult for me to have any passion towards this, what we're doing here, if I knew that the only way I could get people to watch me and listen to me is by putting somebody else up on screen that's not me. You get what I'm saying? Where it's like, this is about this other content creator, this other person, and what they say. And I get it. Like, we can create entertainment value. And I'm not saying there isn't work that goes into it. There is work that goes into it. I'm not taking that away. But I'm just saying, for me personally, I can at least say that I don't, you know, it's kind of a relief in a way where, because I've thought about it. I have, you know, I've thought about it where it's like, dude, some of this listen, there's no doubt I could create some of the most entertaining streams and videos. Probably have to do more editing, of course, which would be fine because it can be fun. And I've thought about it. Like, with some of the shit I've come across, I could absolutely have a field day. But I could just never bring myself to do it because, like, would it get more viewership? Probably. Would it get people, you know, laughing and feeling good? Yeah, probably. But to me, it's kind of embarrassing where it's like, this is what I'm going to do? Really? Like, this is what I'm going to do? Because, look, man, maybe sometimes I do get ahead of myself, but the only thing it's really ever come down to is, like, just being passionate about video games, man. Having problems with video games, having things I love about video games, and everything in between. And that, to me, is what it's about. And that's why I could never get away from it, because it's like, suddenly when it's like, this isn't about video games anymore. This is about watching a YouTuber and listening to what they have to say and picking it apart, or watching, or going on Twitter and bringing out tweets of shit that people are saying. And of course, some of it is pretty funny and can be laughed at, no doubt. But I just don't get that, dude. You know, like, I don't. But to each their own, man. To each their own. All right, let's see here. Where am I at? I lost track. Oh, here we go. Josh, thank you for the super chat, buddy. You're saying, I never understood why you didn't play Ragnarok at the unlocked 120 VRR mode, just like Spider-Man 2. You can't notice the difference. Just buttery smooth. I don't know. I guess it's just because I've settled in at 60 FPS, man. Like, I do feel like if I go from 60 to 120, I am losing something. And I feel like the 60 FPS performance modes are that perfect balance. It offers that perfect balance of, you still have the level of detail, the visual quality, but you have that, you know, like, I guess it's because I just don't feel like I need 120 frames, if that makes sense. I know a lot of people like playing games at 120 frames, and that's what they hope for, but I don't know, man. I just kind of feel like it's overkill for me. 60 is great. 60 is as smooth as I need it to be, as long as it's a stable 60. You know, if it's all over the place, then of course not. But I don't know, man. I guess it's just, that's why. I feel like if I go to 120, even with VRR, I still feel like I'm going to lose something. Like, there has to be something. But maybe that was just me being paranoid and you actually weren't going to lose anything. I honestly can't remember. All I do remember is Ragnarok looked fucking incredible. It did. That's what I remember. It looked incredible, played incredible. So That's where I'm at. We have Jeff B. Gaming, member for 6 months, says, MBG, that's like telling the Golden State Warrior fans during their dynasty not to be excited because in a few years they won't make the playoffs, LOL. I know, like look, man, it is painfully obvious at this point. It is. And it's painfully obvious. And if you don't believe me, just go, even if you were to ask the people that are hating on Sony right now, they'll probably tell you too, like, yeah, it wasn't always like this. It's painfully obvious right now that there's a potent combination of Microsoft is making very good moves when it comes to public perception. They're doing things that make it easy for gamers, for the public to be like, that seems pretty good. Yeah, good work. Sony's doing the opposite, except for Spider-Man 2. Like, Sony is making very business-oriented decisions that are not falling in favor with the public, right? And it's become very easy for people. Now, Sony wasn't doing this stuff during the PS4 days. That's what's important to highlight. Sony wasn't being anywhere near this aggressive in terms of making... Now, I have a theory at this point, because I was really thinking about this. I was like, dude, Sony is... This year in particular, Sony really just said, fuck it, in terms of we're just going to make it crystal clear to everybody, we're going to be profitable. We're going to raise prices. We're going to charge $30 for a stand. We want to make our money. We want money. Like, Sony is going to be in your face with that this year. And I was thinking, like, this seems like a lot. It seems like a lot at once. And my theory is that I think Sony might be basically getting this shit out of the way now. Because something I was thinking about is, and I mentioned this yesterday in my stream, I said, people are out here acting as if Sony is the only company raising prices and basically asking people for more money. And I get that. Like, I'm not pointing that out to say that no one should be upset with Sony. No, you should be. Like, no one wants to pay more money. No one wants to hear about price increases. But I think what's interesting is that something that has become clear universally, not just with video games, but certainly in the video game industry, prices are going up. Like, straight up. Like, they're not going down. They're not staying the same. They are going up. Period. And what I kind of realize is Microsoft has been playing this kind of game, and they're smart. Microsoft is smart for doing this. But my question is simple. How long can you do it for? Maybe they can do it forever. Maybe they can do it forever because they are a multi-trillion-dollar company. I think they probably could do it forever. But the reality is, at some point, Microsoft is going to have to raise prices too. Now, I'm not saying they're going to, be as aggressive about it, but that day is it's seemingly coming sooner rather than later, unless Microsoft just says, fuck it, we'll just keep losing the money. But they cannot continue down a road where they just, everything is going up in price, and they just, I say they can't continue, but again, maybe they can. But I'm just genuinely wondering, like, how long can they continue to come off as this very value, they care about the customer's dollar and they want to give you the best value and the best bang for your buck, and they know that this is working for them, and it is working for them. But how long? Because the prices are, and the cost of things are not going down. They're just going to continue to go up going forward. So, this is what I'm just wondering about, where to me, I almost feel like Sony is doing this shit because they're like, we're going to have to do this anyway. Let's just rip the fucking Band-Aid off, get it over with. This year maybe was already not a great year. So we won't have to fucking hear about the shit next year. I don't know. Jack, you're saying, oh, trust me, there would be more bad news coming to PlayStation. It's just stable now. Good news comes with bad news. Maybe. And I like, look, I get, sometimes people, they push back against me when I bring things like this up and I talk like this because they're like, who cares? I don't give a fuck about Sony's bottom dollar. I don't give a fuck about Microsoft's bottom dollar. I don't care about these billion, trillion dollar companies. It's like, well, I'm not saying you have to care, but I think these are some pretty valid questions to ask. Like, you are getting a great deal with Game Pass, and you are, seemingly getting more games now. But like, I don't know, man. I just think it's. I do wonder. Like, I really do wonder. Is Microsoft playing this game where they're like, we will bleed you. We will bleed you. And even if you don't die, you will be weakened. You won't be the same as you were. And that's what we can do. That's what we can afford to do. And that's just such an interesting tactic to me because it's so, it's smart, but it's also just kind of like, damn, not really the first thing that would come to mind. Saying Microsoft is bleeding. Well, I think what I think it comes down to? I think it comes down to the higher up executives, like the CFO and the CEO, how they feel about it. I mean, they might be looking at what Phil Spencer's doing right now and saying, you know what? This will be worth it. This will be worth it because this is a viable tactic. We're going to lose a lot of money in investing, but we're going to gain so much and we can provide that value. And as long as we provide that value, we win the customer over. We keep the consumer in our favor. They do this during a time where the competition really can't do that. They can't afford to do that. And they know, it seems like Microsoft is betting on Sony wanting to remain profitable. Microsoft is seemingly betting on knowing that Sony can't bleed with them. And I said that the wrong way. I said that backwards. Microsoft is going to be the one bleeding. That's the point here. Like, they're going to bleed because they can. Like, yeah, we can just lose this money. We can leave money. We can leave an ungodly amount of money on the table. We don't need it. We're good. But what about you? Can you leave that money on the table? Do you need that money? What would happen to your business if you left that money on the table? And I'm telling you, man, that's why you see Sony being like, yeah, we got to raise the price of our subscription service and we can't really do anything because, we're starting to lose money on this shit. And it's just like, well, if you're Sony, like, what do? Do you try to match Microsoft? I don't think so. It's just an interesting thought I had recently. But getting back to what I was saying, this is the way it is right now, dude. Sony is not in favor. They don't have the public on their side. They don't. They have the casual on their side, and they also have, I think, the really core PlayStation fan on their side. But everybody in between, they've seemingly, I don't know, I don't say they lost them because they didn't, because people are still buying PS5s in droves, and Spider-Man 2 is obviously going to sell well. I just think that when it comes to the public perception, when it comes to the optics, Sony's almost behaving like they had to choose. You either have good public perception and good optics, or you remain profitable and you run a profitable business. Which one are you choosing? Because you can't have both. Because the only way you remain profitable, you raise prices and you ask for more money. And there's no way you raise a price of something. There's no way you charge $30 for a stand and somehow think you're going to win, like you're going to look good publicly doing it. There's no way. Now, maybe if your competition was doing the same thing, like if Game Pass didn't exist and Microsoft also, if Sony and Microsoft looked at each other and they're like, we should both just do this now because we're both going to have to do it anyway. We got to raise the prices of our consoles. We got to raise the prices of this and, ask for more money here. That would be different. Everybody would be mad, but they would be on the same page. But see, that's where things are so different right now between Sony and Microsoft, where Sony's out here being like, well, we got to do this and do that. But Microsoft's just like, you want some Activision Blizzard games in the Game Pass? It's like, well, fuck. Watch how they announce record profits this year. I mean, yeah, look, this is why I'm saying that the next generation is where things are going to get really interesting. Truthfully. I mean, next generation is when you're going to see a different Microsoft next generation. And I don't know if it's going to be all good. I just know it's going to be different. They are going to go for Sony's juggler next generation. I mean, they're going to be fucking vicious. And, this is what they're preparing for. Like, let's not fucking kid ourselves here. Like, Microsoft didn't buy Activision Blizzard sitting here saying, like, we sure can't wait for that competition next gen. We're excited. No. They buy Activision Blizzard because they know we can spend Sony out of business. They said it themselves. That's the business world for you, man. That is fucking cutthroat. Get you the fuck out of the picture. Shrink you. Get out. Stomp you out. And I guess that's why I think many of us are sitting here wondering, because there's been a lot of talk like, oh, well, what is Sony going to do? Look, is Spider-Man 2 the answer to Microsoft's Activision Blizzard deal closing? No, of course not. I think it's something. I don't think it's exactly the answer, but it's like, Microsoft, you got Activision Blizzard, and that's a big fucking deal. But I'm still feeling pretty good about Sony because they're about to drop Spider-Man 2. So this is why I'm saying it's like it really is like we still have no idea the true repercussions of this. It's going to be a couple years, again, possibly not till next gen, until we really see how this all shakes out. And there's a lot of time between now and next gen. There's a lot of time for Sony to there's a lot of time for Sony to make their own announcements, to make their own changes. There's a lot of time for Microsoft to make their own announcements and still make changes as well. But I think the difference right now, truthfully, between Sony and Microsoft is that you can very clearly see what Microsoft is going for in the long term. You can see Microsoft's long-term vision. And it's take over with Game Pass, buy as many publishers as you can, and become a fucking unstoppable giant. In terms of just sheer revenue and power in this industry. That's and I think so, but the difference is I don't want to say that Sony's ambition or long-term goal is different. I think Sony's is the same, where Sony wants those things too. Sony kind of has that. They've had that for a while now, and they want to keep that, but they want to keep it growing. But I think that the big difference between them is Sony has to find a completely different way to get there than Microsoft is. And we have no idea what that way is. Like, maybe it's the live service games, but we still don't know. We don't know anything about these games. We don't know if there's some kind of, secret plan they're devising behind closed doors that no one knows about yet. I will say this though, man, like these things happening at the same time, it's kind of crazy, isn't it? Like after 2 years, the Activision Blizzard deal finally fucking closes and we don't have to hear anything more about this bullshit from Sony or anybody else. It's over, right? Finally, we can move the fuck on. But it happens at the same time, and Spider-Man 2's out, and that's the last first-party game. Isn't that some fucking shit? Now, isn't that some shit? To me, there's something to that. Both of these things happening at the same time might just be a coincidence. It probably is, but there's no games lineup for Sony. And Microsoft closed their deal. Boy, oh boy, is 2024 going to be a fucking interesting year for gaming. Yeah, it is. going to be one to remember, one for the ages. Jerome Montgomery is saying, with Zelda getting a 96, it is still a front runner. It is. Yeah, I think right now the two games that are the front runners, like the two front runners for Game of the Year, Baldur's Gate 3 and Zelda. But I do think Spider-Man 2 will be in there. I do. MBG, between the hero projects, the PlayStation classes in South Korea with 3 credits for future devs, along with other things we have yet to hear about, Sony's doing a lot. Yeah, Sony's being very surgical and precise about the things they're doing, where they're so kind of spread out and almost like contained and compartmentalized that it kind of like it's easy to forget about. But they are making their own moves in a way. Yeah, they're not the most exciting headline making moves, but they're making moves nonetheless. A lot of them we just haven't really we haven't seen we haven't seen how they turn out. I just realized I was wearing my headphones the whole time for no reason. Anonymous Boss, thank you for the super chat, buddy. You're saying, MBG, I salute you because you don't give a fuck and you say what you got to say 100. I like to select games from Microsoft, but Sony is powerful enough to make an FPS against Microsoft. I think, yeah, well, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that, Anonymous Boss. I think that Sony needs to Sony shouldn't... I'm not saying Sony should listen to me because it's clear that I can have like this mentality that's too bullish where it would become too easy to make a big mistake. You're saying that Sony is powerful enough to make an FPS against Microsoft. I mean, obviously the only thing people are going to think is Sony needs to make their own Call of Duty. Here, I'm telling you right fucking now. Remember I'm saying this because it's going to be a long fucking time. I probably won't even remember that I'm saying this. And by the time we get there, it won't matter. But I'm telling you right now, Microsoft will make Call of Duty exclusive. They will make it exclusive. Call of Duty is not Minecraft. Period. End of discussion. It's not. Call of Duty is Call of Duty. Call of Duty is your ace in the hole that, okay, maybe it takes 10 years, but once that fucking 10 years is up, that's ours. Now, the assumption is that 10 years from now, Call of Duty is still relevant. The assumption is that 10 years from now, Call of Duty is still the money-making machine that it is today. I could be wrong. We could be in the opposite boat. Microsoft might be desperate to put Call of Duty everywhere because it's not making as much money as it once did. But assuming that Call of Duty still does make as much money as it makes today, maybe it makes even more 10 years from now. There's no chance in hell. Do you know why? And I don't think a lot of people picked up on this. Do you know why? Because Microsoft, their plan, to me, it's pretty clear. And I think some Xbox fans know this. I think they picked up on this. It's pretty clear that Microsoft, they're like, oh yeah, 10 years from now, 10 years, don't worry, we're never going to take Call of Duty off. It'll never happen. Just sign that deal. Just sign that deal. I mean, yeah, 10 years, yeah, it'll be great. Don't worry, this is Minecraft for us. Let's flash forward 10 years. Let's say Microsoft beats the ever-loving shit out of Sony. I'm just a hypothetical, because if you ask Xbox fans, that's what's about to happen, right? You see how the Xbox fans are acting. They're like, oh my God, dude, Sony has no fucking idea what's coming. These Xbox fans, or these PlayStation fans, they're fucking crying. They're panicked. They don't know what to do. Sony doesn't know what to do. Sony's in over their head. This next generation, Microsoft's going to fucking wipe the floor with them. Okay, well, let's 10 years from now, the year 3034. 10 years from now, the year 3034. Fuck, man. 2034, right? The year 2034. We will be, geez, man, by that point, fuck. I mean, we'll probably be close to the next generation at that point. We'll be close to the PlayStation 7, assuming that we don't have some really extended generation for the PlayStation 6 or 5. That's where we'll be 10 years from now. So if you're Microsoft and you're devising this long-term plan where you're like, you know what? We can bleed and they will suffer. We can bleed and they will suffer over the next 10 years because we can do what they can't. Let's just say Microsoft does beat the ever-loving shit out of Sony. Consoles aren't selling as well. Sony puts out live service games and they fucking tank. I mean, they tank. They hurt Sony's reputation. They fuck up their development pipeline, right? Sony still has their single player games, but Sony 10 years from now is just not what they were. PlayStation is not what it was. Meanwhile, Xbox is thriving. Xbox has Game Pass everywhere. Xbox has fucking over 110 million Game Pass subscribers. They're raking in an unbelievable amount of revenue. All Microsoft has to do is say, yeah, we would put Call of Duty on PlayStation, but we just don't feel it's worth it anymore. Just doesn't make us enough money. Our deal's up. We're fine. We just don't make enough money. Call of Duty doesn't make the type of money off on PlayStation that it used to. So we could just take it off. I'm telling you, man. Like, people think that that's not Microsoft's mentality. Dude, Microsoft, I just think it's so funny. Like, they literally said, we can spend Sony out of business. And people are like, but they would never take Call of Duty off of PlayStation. Like, are you, I'm not even going to say it. Like, you got to be kidding me. Like, they literally said, we can spend Sony out of business. So, Anonymous Boss, his super chat set me off, bro. Here's what I'm trying to say. Sony. You're saying Sony will never be this weak? I don't want to say never. I want to say it's unlikely. Sony would have to make some big fucking mistakes. They would. Sony would have to make some big mistakes. They'd have to walk on some pretty significant landmines to become that weak over the next 10 years. But keep in mind, man, things can change rapidly. If we get a dumbass CEO in there that doesn't fucking know what they're doing and they don't understand the PlayStation brand, that shit could happen a lot quicker than you think. But there's a couple things that, so the console wars are over, but man, the platform wars are about to fucking heat up, and I'm excited. I am. I can't help it. Like, I know it's going to get really toxic up in here on both sides, but it's going to be a sight to behold, man. Like, I don't think maybe people do understand, but some people I don't think fully understand the gravity of, like, dude, you are going to see Sony and Microsoft fucking try to murder each other. And I think right now, a lot of people firmly believe that Sony doesn't stand a chance. And the reason why they don't stand a chance is because of Microsoft's money. And I think that's an appropriate thing to think right now. Because look at what Microsoft's money just got them. Microsoft's money just got them one of the biggest publishers in the fucking world. So I understand why people would look at that and say, yeah, I don't think Sony can compete with that. But here's another factor that people are not considering. And it's so ironic to me that Phil Spencer said, we lost the most important generation there was to lose, referring to the Xbox One and PS4 generation. But you know what the craziest shit about that is? It wasn't because of PlayStation. It wasn't because of PlayStation. It was because of them. Microsoft was Xbox's undoing. Like, they undid themselves. And all Sony did, like, dude, Microsoft put themselves in the coffin and had the coffin lowered. The only thing Sony did was shovel the dirt on top. And even then, they didn't do it. They didn't shovel all the dirt. You know, that's what happened. And that's why I think it's absolutely fucking insane, the level of confidence that people have in Microsoft. Don't get me wrong. I understand Sony is making it easy for people to have confidence in Microsoft. Hey, we're raising the prices. Our competition isn't. Hey, we have a CEO with almost no charisma. Meanwhile, Microsoft has the most charismatic, head of gaming they've ever had. I get it. Hey, we want you to pay $70 for our games, and Microsoft says just pay $11 a month. You get all our games as long as you're subscribed. I get it. Sony's not doing themselves any favor, but I think it is insane the level of confidence that people have in Microsoft. how quickly they forget that, dude, Microsoft undid themselves. Microsoft didn't have to buy Activision Blizzard because of Sony. And I know people think that's true. It's not. Microsoft didn't say, we got to go buy Bethesda and Activision Blizzard because Sony signed exclusives. No, it's because we fucked ourselves. We basically killed ourselves at the beginning of the gen. And all Sony did is what any company would have done, which is, well, fuck, it's really easy for us to sign exclusives right now, so maybe we should. It's called opportunity. Microsoft's death in the gaming business brought about immense opportunity for Sony, and Sony didn't do anything wrong capitalizing on that. However, in the same vein, Microsoft isn't doing anything wrong right now by saying, well, fuck, we have the money to resurrect this shit and maybe take it further than we ever have. Let's do it. But I just think people need to be careful. Look, I'm not saying I expect Xbox fans to come out here and be like, you know what? I think Microsoft still sucks. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying Microsoft fans should be out here doom and glooming it. All I'm saying is that I've witnessed the current leadership at Microsoft that hasn't changed, mind you. It's the same people. I've witnessed them fuck up numerous times. And people have proven they're very forgiving. You give them a good deal, you buy a couple studios, you buy a couple publishers, suddenly everything's okay. Hey, it's all good. It's all good. This is the comeback we wanted, baby. And that's fine. I get it. Enjoy it. I would. Fuck. I mean, if these are games that I cared about, absolutely. But I think people need to be careful to really assume, earnestly assume that they're just going to go up from here. That there are going to be no setbacks. There are going to be no mistakes made. There are going to be no roadblocks. I think that's foolish. I think the past 2 years revealed an easy roadblock for people to direct their fucking hatred towards. That being the CMA. And Sony, because Sony was involved with the CMA and egging that on. Microsoft said, these guys are the bad guys. Not us. We're just trying to do business. Okay? We're just trying to spend our money and add value to Game Pass. These guys don't want that. Boo this man. Boo these men and women. Because they don't want that. And that's what everybody did. Microsoft told them to do it. They did it. Now the rubber hits the fucking road. And I can't wait to see. I cannot fucking wait to see what happens next. Because Bobby Kotick's gone. Pete Hines is gone today, apparently. Starfield, it's fine. Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 3, fucking DLC. We saw what happened. I love it. Look, I know, man. I know it comes off. You're salty hater, MBG salty. That's fine. It's not really salt though, because it's actually pretty exciting, frankly, because one of two things is going to happen. And even the people who want to bust my balls all the time, I think they could agree with this. One of two things is going to happen. Either Microsoft is going to fucking do it, and they're going to do it. They're really going to do it. Like, they're going to fucking reach that next level where it's like, oh my God. I would be shocked too. I'd be like, how the fuck did they turn it around like this? How did they do it? How did they manage to do this? Look at where they started with the Xbox One. How did they make it here? It's either going to be that or some cataclysmic shit is going to, it's going to fucking go down. And it's going to go down in flames. And it's going to be bad. Now, I'm not saying which way I think it's going to go because I don't know. All I do know is that Microsoft, they fucked themselves with the Xbox One. And they proceeded to not unfuck themselves for that entire generation until they said, we got to spend our way out of this problem. So basically what I'm saying is this. Phil Spencer proved that him and Matt Booty, they proved that they couldn't really figure it out, you know? And I'm not saying that to hate. It's just the truth. I think even Xbox fans could acknowledge this because it's just a fact. Microsoft was out here saying this themselves in order to buy Activision Blizzard. They said, we can't do it. And that's why I think it's so interesting that their answer to that is we are struggling to manage our studios. We are struggling to put out banger games to entice people to buy our console, let alone subscribe to our service. So what we should do is we should buy some of the biggest publishers in the world and we should manage them. And that's how we'll succeed. And they could. They absolutely could. But this is why I'm saying, let's pay attention to Bobby Kotick exiting. He is not going to be an easy replace. That man knew how to run a business. Regardless of his character, he knew how to run a business well. Phil Spencer, he portrays himself as a man of good character, which is fine, and I think that goes a long way. But Phil Spencer's proven he doesn't know how to properly manage studios. Phil Spencer has proven that he couldn't even bring Halo back. But this is supposed to be the company that we say, oh my God, they're gonna deliver Call of Duty unto us. They're gonna bring Call of Duty back. Dude, I see these poor Call of Duty fans, man. I'm sorry. Like, I see these poor Call of Duty fans, and I see someone being like, make Call of Duty great again. Now that Microsoft has Call of Duty, it finally has a chance. And I get it. Under Activision, maybe it never had a chance because it's a well-oiled machine. Like, you know what Call of Duty is going to be, and that's all it's ever going to be. It's never going to change. And I get that. That's kind of, I understand somebody who played Call of Duty, that's kind of disappointing, but I think it's fucking sad that they're like, yeah, man, it's going to get better. Like, you do know who's going to run Call of Duty now, right? Like, you do know who's going to be in charge of Infinity Ward and Treyarch and Sledgehammer Games, right? I'm just saying, I think that people are getting people are sitting here telling me that I'm getting ahead of myself because I'm excited that Spider-Man scored a 91 on Metacritic because it seems like it's confirmed it's a fucking good game. You know, at least by the reviewers, like, hey, this is a great game. It's exactly what you thought it would be. Great. Apparently, I'm getting ahead of myself because, dude, Sony's live service games, okay, shit's going to hit the fan. And maybe it will, and that would suck ass. But I just think it's like, are you guys looking at who's inheriting these fucking games? I'm sorry, man. It's insane. It's insane for me to witness this because it's just like, when did Microsoft become a great publisher? You're saying just because you say COD is not great does not mean it's not true. No, I'm not saying Call of Duty isn't great. I mean, I think it's overly redundant at this point. But actually, no, I give Call of Duty a lot of credit. It's a well-oiled machine. Call of Duty has great graphics. It has great presentation. It feels good. Call of Duty is a good game. It's just the way the studios have been managed and the output has been managed. It's a well-oiled, refined money-making machine. Money, all of it. Not enough of it. Not a little of it. We need all of the money. And that's fine, dude. Because people have proven, like, yeah, we'll keep buying it. Dude, you watch. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 is going to be the best-selling game of the year. And it's a fucking DLC. And that's fine. I do not condemn people who want more of what they like. I'm just saying that it's like they're running out, man. They're running on fumes. Do people not see that about Call of Duty? Even as somebody who loves Call of Duty or has for a long time, they're running on fumes, people. Oh, we have Call of Duty planned out to 2027. I'll tell you exactly what those Call of Duties are going to be. Call of Duty, Black Ops, what, is it fucking 6 at this point? Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4? Call of Duty Black Ops 7? And just for the fuck of it, let's throw in another World War II game. I'm just saying, like, they're running out of rope here, guys. They tried to do something different between 2014 and 18. Here's a futuristic Call of Duty. They panicked so hard with Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. They're like, fuck, quick, remaster Call of Duty 4 and put that out there. That's how panicked they were. Because people were like, this sucks. And now, if you look at what they've went back to, so you guys like the Modern Warfare games, right? Yeah. Yeah, you like those Modern Warfare games, don't you? It's like, yeah, we do. Well, here's Modern Warfare 2019. Fuck, yeah. Hell yeah, let's go. What about another World War II game, Vanguard? No. We're good, bro. Oh. Okay. Well, it still sold well, but all right. Oh, Modern Warfare 2. Oh, Modern Warfare 2. Yeah, let's fucking go. MW2. Fuck yeah, this is great. Holy shit, dude, they love this Modern Warfare. I got it. What if we give them Modern Warfare 3 the next year? Holy shit, bro. No way. I got one even better for you. What if we take all of the 2009 Modern Warfare 2 maps and just remake them? We don't have to do any original maps. They'll fucking eat it up. And you're right, they will eat it up. And I do not blame anybody. I'm not condemning you. I fucking loved Modern Warfare 2 2009. I did. If you are falling for the nostalgia, I do not blame you. I get it. But the point is, they can only play these cards so many times. Because you know what's going to come next year? How about that Black Ops? You remember Black Ops 1? You remember Black Ops 1? Oh, I remember Black Ops 1, baby. Let's go. Frank Woods. Remember the numbers, Mason. Fuck yeah, dude. I remember Black Ops 1. I'm telling you, you remember all those Black Ops 1 maps? We're remaking them, baby. Black Ops 1 maps. And you know what? For DLC, here's some more Black Ops 2 maps. But the point is, dude, like, you're gonna run out. You're going to go to the well over and over again, and even Call of Duty fans are going to say, guys, this is getting, okay, we got it. We got all the MW2 and 3 and all the maps and the Black Ops and the Black Ops. Is there something new? Is there something different? And I will say, this is where Microsoft is going to either make or break themselves, because Microsoft is eventually going to have to step in. Because when Call of Duty, if it were to collapse, it's not collapsing this year. It's not collapsing next year. It's not collapsing this generation. Call of Duty's fine. They can still run to that Modern Warfare, Black Ops well, back and forth, and they will. And it'll be just fine. But at some point, could take 4 years, could take 6 years, but it'll probably happen in the next decade. I feel pretty confident in saying that. They're going to have to be faced with the reality that you guys got to get creative now. Yeah, that I know. Shocking. I know. People are tired of zombies. People are tired of remade maps. You got to do something new. What do? And that is where we will see just how good or not good Microsoft is at managing these studios, because it's going to, assuming Phil Spencer's still the head of Xbox when this happens, it's going to be on him. It's going to be on him and everybody. And I don't know, maybe if they do get a new head of Activision, which I'm sure they will, whoever's going to take over, Jim Ryan, it's going to be on them to ensure that Call of Duty doesn't fucking start to go downhill. Because I'll tell you right now, from what I'm witnessing, this shit is already going downhill. Not because it's bad, but because they're fucking running out of rope. You can only stay on top for so long. Has anybody taken a moment to consider that Microsoft inherited Call of Duty and it already peaked? Has anybody considered that? No one's going to consider that, because you're just not allowed to say that right now. And I get it. This isn't a time for doom and gloom, but These are the long-term things that people are going to have to pay attention to. They're going to have to pay attention to this because I understand people are shitting on Sony right now, or they have been, where it's like remake station. All Sony does is remasters and remakes, even though that's not true, but I get it. Maybe it's a bit much. And we've talked about that. You know, Sony can only go back to the well so many times for games like The Last of Us, right? And remaking games until people start to get a little bit fed up and they're like, we need something new here, right? There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with admitting that getting the same shit over and over again can become overly redundant. But that's where these executives, this is where it becomes a make or break situation. When that time comes, as a video game publisher, as a AAA video game publisher with a platform, you got to make something fucking new. What do you do? What do you do? Because that's sink or swim shit right there, dude. You don't have a brand name. You don't already have an established audience. This is something brand fucking new. It's no wonder publishers are terrified of it. How could you not be? What if it fucking fails? What does that mean? It means you just lost a lot of fucking money. It means you just lost a lot of fucking money and your shareholders are not happy. And your boss is probably not happy either. MBG, let's change the topic. Spider-Man 2 hype. No, don't get me wrong, man. I'm just dude, look, the Spider-Man 2 shit ended probably an hour ago. I think I spent the first 2 hours of this stream roughly talking about Spider-Man, but now I'm going in a different direction just because, I don't know, just some of this shit's on my mind. I'm going to read these super chats though. I'm sorry to keep you guys waiting. Angry Whale Watcher says, oh no, how is Microsoft going to buy Ubisoft if they had to give them Activision's cloud streaming rights to avoid having a streaming monopoly? That's what I was saying, dude. I think Microsoft is more trying to get buddy-buddy with Ubisoft rather than acquire them, because now that Ubisoft is going to have those streaming rights, there's no chance Microsoft can acquire them. They're out of the running for Microsoft. Steranko, you're saying they couldn't handle Halo, COD will be the same. I mean, I don't know that I feel confident enough to like plant that flag down and say it will be the same. I don't know that, but I will say I don't have any confidence. I don't know. I don't know why people look. I get that people hate Bobby Kotick. I understand the allegations and the fucking problems that, you know, that man has seemingly created with his time at Activision Blizzard as a cutthroat executive. But I don't understand why people think like, dude, Call of Duty cannot change now. Maybe in the future, but not like if there was ever a time where Microsoft absolutely needs Call of Duty to continue breaking not breaking records, but being the best-selling game every year, it's now. Like that has to stay. This year, next year, because they got a lot of money to make up for spending. And I'm telling you, man, people, it's the same thing with Jim Ryan. People despise Jim Ryan, but they don't seem to understand that Jim Ryan put PlayStation as a business in the healthiest spot. I understand that it might not be the most consumer-facing spot, and some shit just seems anti-consumer, like that sucks, and we call that out, but there's no denying the man knew what he was fucking doing. He was not somebody that walked in and fucking tanked the PlayStation brand. He did the opposite. People need to understand that for as much as you may hate Bobby Kotick, and I don't like the guy either, he did that for Activision for 33 fucking years. 33 years. Holy shit. That's insane. Hey, don't you chew that wire. I see you, boss. I see you, boss. And I'm not comparing Jim Ryan to Bobby Kotick necessarily, because they're two very different people, clearly. I'm just saying that it's easy for people to have disdain for cutthroat business executives that make cutthroat business decisions. I get it. But you already know that I am so interested to see how Call of Duty does or does not transform Game Pass. because everybody is acting excited about Call of Duty again, knowing that this shit's going to come to Game Pass. I would love if there's one statistic or some number crunching they did. If there's one thing that I would love to see is how many Game Pass subscribers does Microsoft expect Call of Duty to bring when they drop it in there day one. I would love to know, because I'm telling you, you will see a level of panic within Microsoft that you've never seen before if Call of Duty doesn't drive those numbers the way they expect them to. And I have no reason to believe they won't. I have no reason to believe they won't, because they're also going to have that PlayStation money as well. But that, to me, is going to be one of the most interesting things to see, because you could make the argument that it's actually okay if they just continue. Hey, stop chewing that wire. It would be okay if they just keep doing what they want to do with Call of Duty and like milking the remakes and maps. Like, we'll keep remaking the same maps and Black Ops 6, 7, 8, 9, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 4, 5, 6, 7. You could argue that would be justified now because it's going to be in Game Pass. Like, well, you're only paying $11 a month. What do you expect? See, that's the genius of Game Pass in a way. Let's see. You're saying WoW players get a price drop on Game Pass? Yeah, they definitely do. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you're going to go from paying $70 to what, 11? Right? At least if you're just like subscribing to try it out or something. Cats will chew when you're not looking, especially those thin white charger wires. That's exactly what he was doing. That's exactly what he was doing. Haters, haters, haters. Well, don't you dude, Boss is being a menace right now. He looked like he was about to turn my PC off with his nose. He put his nose on the power button. Come on, man. What are you doing? I know you want attention. That's fine. Just come up here. Come on. I'm not trying to hate on Microsoft. It's not, like, truthfully, it's not about hating Microsoft. It's not. It's more about questioning the level of confidence that people have in them. That's where I'm at. Because you know what seems a little bit unfair to me, frankly? It seems unfair to me that PlayStation fans are willing to have doubt in this case with Sony. PlayStation fans hear that Sony's going to make like 10 live service games. Dude, PlayStation fans are scared, as they should be, because God, that's a big change. And a lot of PlayStation fans don't love or even like live service games, but almost every PlayStation fan, from what I can tell, is willing to take a step back and say, this could be it could be problematic. I love PlayStation, I love what they do, but this could be a big problem and this could go badly. I just think it's crazy that Xbox fans, from what I can tell, not all of them, but some of them are seemingly not willing to take that step back with this acquisition and say, okay, this is a big deal for Xbox and it could be great. And at the very least, it's a better value and that's fine. But some things could go horribly wrong. Games could get much worse. I just don't understand why they're not willing to question the Xbox leadership in the fact that it's like a lot of people out there, they want to Starfield Xbox. That's Xbox. Starfield is Xbox. Starfield is Microsoft. Starfield Microsoft. No, it's not. It's just not. And it's no different than saying Final Fantasy isn't PlayStation. It's not. Even if Sony bought Square Enix right now, Final Fantasy is not PlayStation. They have the PlayStation logo now, But that's Square Enix. Now, maybe future Final Fantasy games, if Sony owns them, sure. Future Bethesda games, the next Elder Scrolls, sure. That's Microsoft. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is not to say that we shouldn't give Microsoft credit. Truthfully, I don't care what people want to do. You want to give Sony credit for Final Fantasy? You want to give Microsoft credit for, Starfield? That's fine. But I just don't think people should do that if it's going to get in the way of their, of clearly seeing that you should question how Microsoft is going to manage one of the biggest video game publishers in the industry, because they own them now. And let me tell you, when Black Ops, whatever the fuck, comes out next year, you're going to tell me that's Microsoft? That's not Microsoft. That's Activision. That's Bobby Kotick. That's Treyarch. That game is nearly complete at this point. Hey, you're being bad. You get that too. Dude, my cats are acting weird. You're saying it is Microsoft. I mean, yeah, technically, Microsoft owns them, but I'm saying I'm trying to tell you that Phil Spencer didn't manage Treyarch. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Matt Booty didn't manage Treyarch. Phil Spencer didn't manage Bethesda Game Studios. Neither did Matt Booty. That was Todd Howard and Pete Hines. Pete Hines just announced his retirement. I just need to know. I'm serious. I just need to know, where is this confidence coming from? Leia's being bad back there, dude. Because I'll tell you what, man. If Marathon comes out and it's a fucking banger, like, oh my God, Marathon is blowing the fuck up. Bungie does it again. Yeah, that's not Sony. That was never Sony. And that'll never be Sony. That's Bungie. That's Bungie. And you know what? If it fucking fails, sure. Maybe people will blame Sony. It'll obviously be Bungie's fault that it fails. But it's like, fuck, man. I just want to know, where's the confidence coming from? You're saying I'm talking in circles at this point? Probably. I mean, I'm over 3 hours in the stream. Dude, Leia is being fucking weird back there. What are you doing? Leia, come here. I'm telling you, she gets like this at certain points in the stream. She looks like she wants to start knocking shit off my desk. Yeah, I see you. I see what you're doing. I don't know. You guys tell me what you think, but this is just food for thought. That's all. Steranko, you're saying, I read that one already. We have NatureBoy80 saying, if Xbox is the top console in the future, then I'll know the world is close to ending. Goddamn. That's how we measure the direction the world is headed in, man. If PlayStation sales start to tank and Xbox sales start going up, something ain't right with the world. I love that logic. Jerome Montgomery is saying, Xbox still in third place behind PlayStation and Tencent still. That's kind of ironic in a way. Is that true? God damn. Perfect Image is saying, no one will understand exclusivity versus buying a publisher. I'm not even saying people need to understand that. I'm kind of over that conversation at this point, you know? I'm over that conversation because I'm not even asking people to understand that. I just, at this point, the only question I have, because that's the thing. I really sat on this closure of the acquisition. And I know that I've been made fun of in the past and shit on because people, fucking selective in what they want to show out there when it comes to my reactions to the acquisition in the past. But now it's a done deal. And I realize that there truly is only one question I have. And it is simply that. I know I have been talking in circles, but that really is just a question: is where is the confidence coming from? What has given you confidence? And I'm not saying that in a way to where it's like, let me tell you why you shouldn't have any confidence. I'm genuinely wondering that. Where did it come from? Where? Did it come from Forza? Did it? I mean, I'm seriously asking, like, did it come from Forza? Where did it come from? You're saying nothing, it's blind faith. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Tay says, yes, it did. Well, I can get behind that. If you're saying your confidence comes from Forza, I can't take that away from you, man. I've always said Playground Games is very talented. They are an Xbox studio now. You're saying because not all game studios are equals MBG just because they are under Microsoft, not mean they will fail. That is true. Okay, that's a good one. This is why I'm asking the question. I think that's a good answer. So basically what you're saying is that maybe many of these studios don't need to be managed necessarily. They just will continue doing what they do. I could get behind that. Yeah. I don't know that I could be as confident as many people out there. I don't know that I could. I don't know that I could simply say that, cut off the head of the snake that is Activision, that being Bobby Kotick, replace it with the head of Phil Spencer, and all will be set straight. I don't know that I can subscribe to that, but what I can subscribe to maybe is, hey, Treyarch knows what they're doing at this point. They don't really need, they've been doing it for so long. It's like rinse and repeat at this point. It's, it's like I said, it's a well-oiled machine. It maintains itself. I could see that being true. But here's the thing that I've noticed about, and I think this is really important to bring up. Something that I feel like is a guarantee in this industry is no studio is bulletproof. No matter how good a studio is, no matter what their pedigree is, they will fuck up at some point. They will. They will fuck up. They will run into a problem. And when that happens, that is where management comes into play. That is where there's going to be somebody at the top level that has to make critical decisions during those times of turmoil. And if, this is why I'm saying, like, I was going on this whole tangent about Call of Duty because I think that's going to happen to Call of Duty. I'm not saying I want that to happen. I'm just saying I think it's obvious. I think the writing's been on the wall. I think Call of Duty has somehow, I don't want to say getting lucky, but I don't know that it's luck, but it's just they've made it work, and it's been working for a long time. And let's just face it, it is luck. The idea that you can succeed for 20 years straight and not hit a fucking brick wall is insane. Like that is unheard of in this industry. And so I do think that within the next 10 years, they are going to hit that brick wall. And it's going to be just very interesting to watch, again, assuming Phil Spencer's at the top, how Microsoft handles that now that it's going to be in their hands. That falls on them. I know. See somebody in the chat, Pete Hines resigned. I know, man. I know. We talked about that a little bit. So we'll see, man. We'll see what happens. You're saying they think Microsoft is winning, so hyping up a big acquisition is not all that surprising. Well, I mean, I don't blame anybody for hyping it. Truthfully, I don't. In the same way that if Sony announced the big acquisition, I wouldn't blame PlayStation fans for hyping that shit either. Bro, how's the stream still going? I know, I got to get through these super chats. I appreciate it, guys. Kyle says, how ironic Microsoft buys a publisher with pay-to-win monetization content in order to pay to win in the industry. LOL, going to be interesting. Well, let's face it. From a consumer level, most consumers ask, what are you doing for me? And that's fair. That's totally fair, dude. I don't fucking blame you. You're going to turn to a $1 trillion corporation and say, what are you doing for me? Yeah, I'd ask that question too. What are you doing for me? And this is where Microsoft truly has found their ace in the hole, where they say, let me tell you what we're doing for you. We'll tell you right now. We're buying them. We're buying them. We're buying all this. And we got this little package for you right here called Xbox Game Pass. You pay me $11. You subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. And that's what we're doing for you. And I'll tell you right now, a lot of people are like, well, fuck. That sounds good to me. And suddenly, any of this conversation about anything deeper than that. Okay, well, maybe what they're doing for you is valuable. Yes. But let's take the value conversation and put it over here for a moment and look at everything else. And we can't do that, though. Microsoft doesn't want that conversation to take place. Xbox fanboys don't want that conversation to take place. And whether people know it or not, there are a lot of people out here trying their best to ensure that conversation doesn't take place. Because that's when you can begin to kind of see that, all right, maybe this isn't as clear cut as certain people out there want you to believe it is. Right? And that is what it does remind me of Starfield. It does. I feel like you saw that mentality with Starfield. Let's be honest. The amount of people out here telling you Starfield's going to be a once in a generation game that is going to blow your fucking mind. And it became clear, like, that's not what this is. It's a good game. It's a competent game and people are enjoying it, but it's not that. The amount of people that they formed a fucking wall where it's like, no, that is what it is. And you can't say anything. If you try to even if you get out of line and you say it's not, we're coming for you. You're going to get shit on. And it's just like, okay. Like, I don't know why it has to be all that, but it's fucking ridiculous. This is the Xbox fan base. Straight up. That is the Xbox fan base. And I don't know if people know that. You know how I know? Because I was part of it. I know. Don't get me wrong. I know there are some fucking crazy ass PlayStation fans that look like fucking idiots out there. Absolutely. No doubt about it. That exists. Some people might even say I'm one of them, right? Sure, fine. But I was part of the Xbox fan base, and believe me when I tell you, like, that mentality is 100% what it is. It's fucking herd mentality, dude. Like, they have to get together and they have to form a fucking wall and they have to write on that wall that this is the greatest or this is better than what you think. And if you try to go beyond that, even if there's proof in front of you that it's not really that, they can't deal with that, and they will do everything they can to try to stomp that out. And you know who actually encourages it? You think Microsoft isn't encouraging that shit? Let me tell you, there's a reason why Phil Spencer is inviting literal Xbox fanboys with Xbox podcasts where they all group up together. There's a reason why Phil Spencer is inviting them to their shows and giving them press passes. They're enabling that shit because they know it fucking works. They know it works. You know what I want to see? I want to fucking see a tweet from Phil Spencer condemning the Xbox fanboys, the fucking Xbots on Twitter out here spoiling Spider-Man for people. Where's that fucking tweet, Phil? You're such a good guy, right? You're all about gaming for everybody and shit and being nice to one another. Where's that? You won't ever see something like that. But you know what? You will see these guys who encourage this type of behavior, or these people, whoever they are, you'll see them invited to fucking events and shit. The evangelism. Didn't Phil Spencer use that fucking term in one of his emails? They'll evangelize us. Holy fuck, it's a cult. It's a cult! Who would have thought it's a fucking cult? Oh, God. Fuck, it's over. You sound jealous, MBG. Dude, believe me when I tell you, I don't... Sure, man, I'm very jealous. I wish I could get that press pass. I wish Sony would invite me to their digital event so I could fucking go hands-on with their game. Oh, wait. Come on, dude. MBG given, bro. Sign the private jet deal with Phil. Take care, Shems. Take care, Shems. I appreciate you hanging around. I mean, we're just having some fun right now. It's not that serious. But yeah, I mean, truthfully though, in all seriousness, the conversation has turned very toxic. And, you know, I'm not out here to defend Sony. I'm not out here to necessarily shit on Microsoft. I guarantee you people are going to clip this stream. Okay? They're going to take clips out of what I'm saying. They're going to make content out of it because that's how unoriginal they are. They can't even fucking think of their own content. They don't even have an original thing to say. They have to rely on me and others. They're going to clip this stream. They're going to take things out of the stream, and they're going to completely ignore the fact that literally 2 streams ago, or it was either my last stream or 2 streams ago, I spent nearly that entire stream being extremely critical of Sony and kind of like going in on them, right? But I don't do that because I'm a fanboy. You see what I'm saying? Do you see the mentality that these people breed? Where we tell you what it is, and if we only show you certain things and we tell you what it is, and if anybody questions it, we stone them. We get them the fuck out of here. They're wrong. But I assure you, there is a stream that I did, again, within this past week. Many of you guys can vouch for it. I could fucking probably I could clip it myself. I could probably ask Devil Shooter to clip some shit from it, where I just fucking go in on Sony and I let them have it because they're not fucking perfect either. There's shit I'm questioning with Sony too. But you know, we can't do that with Microsoft. So it is what it is, man. MBG, has Insomniac earned S tier status alongside Naughty Dog and Santa Monica? Absolutely. In my book, yeah. No, Devil. I'm not saying to do that. I know, Devil. I know. I'm not saying to do that. Listen, I might ask you to. It depends. Because you know what? Like, it's getting to a point now where it's clear no one's going to point out that, like, hey, I know you guys are, like, shitting all over MBG and taking 2-minute clips of him and, you know, basically making him seem like some kind of insane Xbox hater that wants to light Xbox on fire and burn it to the ground. But, you know, no one's going to come out and be like, there's a whole fucking stream here where he just shit on Sony because of some of the bad decisions they're making. Gonna clip that. I mean, fuck, you could clip that shit for days. This, God knows, it's a gold mine, right? I don't want it to come down to this because it shouldn't be necessary. It shouldn't be necessary. But one thing I'm learning is that, like, this shit, it's all about the cherry picking now. That's it. And you know what the saddest part is? Like, people seemingly don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, you said this thing about Microsoft and you sound stupid. You're a fucking crazed Sony fanboy. Right? It's like, oh, yeah, okay, I guess. But what about this thing I said over here about Sony? Where I'm like, pretty much keeping the same energy. Oh, yeah, we don't acknowledge that. That doesn't exist. Oh. All right. Well, okay. So, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, there's no winning, bro. There's no winning. There is no winning. But maybe it's not about winning, you know? It's all about keeping people's attention and getting what you can out of it for most people. If Sony was making the purchase, it would be okay. Yeah, you're right, man. It would be totally fine. Microsoft or Sony's buying Activision Blizzard, and I love Call of Duty now. Crash and Spyro are coming home. This is great. This is going to be great for the industry. Like, what the fuck? Get the fuck. This is what I'm saying. Please just go away. Like, you need to just go away. How many times have I said it would be bad if Sony bought? Dude, I can't. I just can't, man. I can't with this shit. Yeah, they did get Spyro. They did get Spyro. He's losing it. I am losing it because it's like, dude, I fucking said no. I fucking said it would be bad if Sony acquired a publisher, but you're saying it would. I'm saying it would be okay if they got Activision. Come on, bro. Come on. You got to be shitting me. I won't lie. It's pretty funny though. I won't lie. It's pretty funny. I'm sorry. I know. I need to. Yeah. Let's reel it in. We got to reel it in here, folks. Okay. It's getting a little crazy. All right. We got Pragmatic Cat. Member 22 months. Thank you for that support, buddy. You're saying, I hope Microsoft becomes the biggest platform where all the casuals go, while PlayStation partners with the Japanese publishers and smaller publishers like Larian, because then the PlayStation community would be more representative of how I feel about PS. I mean, look, man, I would it would be interesting to see Sony take that angle because it would be pretty effective for them. A lot of people have been begging Sony to kind of go back to that. I don't think they will, but it would be interesting to see where it's like we're going to focus on like these other, like you said, like Japanese partnerships and play to our strengths while still playing to our strengths and really kind of go back to making some weird stuff, some experimental stuff and being more open to that. And, you know, you're talking about partnering with Larry and I could see Sony doing all of that. I don't know though. I just don't see Sony of today making that decision, unfortunately. But oh, my back. My back. What is wrong with my back today, man? Breaking my back in this chair for some reason. So Pragmatic Cat, I appreciate that. We have Alex Mercer, the prototype, saying, MBG, I just thought of something. What if Sony bought Ubisoft because not only can they afford them, but now they own the streaming rights of ABK games? LOL. Oh, yeah, that is a pretty funny angle, right? Where this is one way we can ensure that we have some kind of access to Activision Blizzard games no matter what in the future. Because how long was their deal? It was like 15 years or something. I don't remember how long they signed the deal for, but it's a thought. That's a thought. I did entertain that briefly, but I'm telling you, man, that I still just can't see Sony ever buying Ubisoft because of how many employees they have. They have over 20,000 employees. I don't think Sony wants anything to do with that. That is a nightmare for them, man. Sony already has so much to manage. I'm sitting here questioning how Microsoft is going to manage Activision Blizzard. Dude, for as good as Sony's management is, I would question how are you going to manage Ubisoft if you get them? That sounds insane to me. I mean, the only other way I could see it happening is if Sony was really serious about it, like they're like, you know what, we do need to get Ubisoft. We need that IP. They do have talent, clearly, but there's going to be a high cost associated, and it would be a PR nightmare for Sony where you acquire Ubisoft, you go through that process, and you lay off a fuck ton of people. I mean, you close studios, you trim all the fat, basically. Sony will get ridiculed. And it's understandable why they would do that. They would get ridiculed for that. They would get destroyed. But I have a feeling if Sony were to acquire Ubisoft, that's exactly what they would do. They would trim it down, get it tight-knit, as small as they can, as controllable and manageable as they can. And I think it would be a nightmare. It would. So I just don't see it happening. But I do get what you're saying, Alex Mercer, that there is that angle of it. I think that maybe adds a little bit more to it, certainly. Yeah, that's true too, Fred. Ubisoft does have some similar issues to ABK with accusations and whatnot, there's that whole other side of it that I didn't consider. All right. Richard Rodriguez, you're saying 91 with IGN and GameSpot purposely appeasing Xbox fans. I don't view it that way, man. I don't think it's them. I mean, I'm sure some people view it that way, but no, I don't think IGN and GameSpot both gave it an 8 just to slight Sony or Spider-Man. I said it earlier. I think it's obvious, and I think they did it with They probably did it with Starfield too. I think it's just to get more traction to their website and their review. You know, I think people need to understand that these gaming websites are on the ropes. They're struggling to survive, and clicks are everything. I mean, clicks are everything for everybody on the internet. But I mean, when you're struggling to survive, yeah, you're going to have to start fighting for those clicks. And what better way than with two of the biggest games of the year, with two of the most vocal communities and passionate communities? Yeah, I could see how going a little bit against the grain could drive significantly more traction. Now, maybe not. Look, these just could be honest to God reviews, and they say, I played Spider-Man 2 and I honest to God feel like it's an 8 out of 10. It's believable. It is. Like, I'm not saying it's unbelievable. An 8 out of 10 is not a bad score. Just like I said, like a 7 out of 10 isn't a bad score. It's not what people expected per se, but it's not a bad score. I mean, it would be really weird if, like, to me, it would be weird if IGN gave Spider-Man like a 6 out of 10 or a 5 out of 10. Because I would, at that point, I would have to question, like, what are you seeing here? What are you playing that's making you think this is a 5 or 6 out of 10? Like, there has to be a major flaw in this game. And an 8 out of 10 doesn't make me feel that way. An 8 out of 10 makes me feel like they really enjoyed it, but there's a couple things that they just frankly didn't enjoy that dropped it down. And it's kind of ironic. It is that both GameSpot and IGN once again gave it the same score. But yeah. Domingo813, you're saying, I imagine Nintendo laughing in the background at Sony and Microsoft. Probably. Dude, Nintendo, they don't have to worry about jack shit. Clearly, they're doing just fine. I admire that, you know? I kind of wish Sony would be like that a little bit. Just a little bit. But we have Okie Oak, I think that's your name. You're saying mass layoffs are coming at Microsoft. You're probably right. Yeah, I saw a lot of people talking about that there are going to be mass layoffs. And I wouldn't even know what to say at that point other than, yeah, of course. Like, this is the name of consolidation. This is how it works. And, you know, I really wonder, all the people who were cheering that on, you know, cheering the acquisition on, I'm curious to see what they're going to have to say when that day comes. Because that day, you're right, that is inevitably going to happen. It's inevitable. They are going to have some mass layoffs. And I hope all the people who were cheering on this acquisition, I hope they realize, like, you were cheering on for that too. This is another reason I'm saying, like, I don't want more consolidation. Like, I don't want Sony to buy a massive publisher. Like, I just talked about it. If they buy Ubisoft, mass fucking layoffs. Like, just leave them be. They're running their business. They're surviving. They're doing what they should do. And it's fine. It's fucking fine. Like, it doesn't need to be interrupted by anything. Just let them do what they do. And Sony can just focus on themselves. It doesn't have to, like, that doesn't have to be a thing. Beef Jerky says, breaking news, Bobby Kotick announces new CEO of Xbox. Will you stop chewing my cord, boss? Hey, you stop that. Boss he's getting on my nerves now. I bet you there are some executives at Microsoft that would like to see that happen, because they were, you know, Bobby Kotick would definitely run Xbox differently. I don't think it would be good for the consumer level, but yeah, it would be good for their business, no doubt about it. And then we have Domingo813 saying you should do a cosplay on Wolverine's release date. I just might. Dude, I dressed as Wolverine for Halloween one year. Boss, you are making me angry, bro. You need to go. He's fucking with me big time. I dressed as Wolverine for Halloween one year, and it was pretty fun. So I might, yeah, I probably would. I'm really into Wolverine. I love Wolverine. He's my favorite superhero. So I don't know if it feels weird to call him a superhero, but you know. All right, let me see here. I'm going to go check a couple things before we bring this stream to a close. Let me see here. Is there anything I missed? I don't think so. I don't think I missed anything. All right, one last thing I'll check, and then we'll wrap this up. Okay. Yeah, I think that's going to do it for the stream, guys. I think we covered some interesting topics today. I mean, it was obviously very exciting to talk about Spider-Man and go over the reviews. I think it was a good day for PlayStation fans, truthfully, because I mean, there's clearly a lot to look forward to with this game. Alex Mercer with another super chat. He says Sony shouldn't buy Ubisoft, but it's a funny thought. It is a funny thought. I mean, there's no denying, and I'll just say this before we close it up. There's no denying that if Sony bought Ubisoft, I mean, it would be a power play. Certainly. Like, it would be a big fucking deal. And it would cause a lot of insane conversations and discourse. And I think the initial gut reaction for PlayStation fans would be to get excited because it's like, yeah, see, Sony's doing it too. But I think very quickly after that, a lot of concerns would arise and a lot of speculation would have to take place as to what this actually means. But it would certainly be a big deal, no doubt about it. It would be a very big deal. But yeah. But yeah, that's going to do it for this stream, guys. I'm going to bring it to a close now. I'm just going to ask you, as you head out, do me a big favor, hit that like button. We're over 520 likes, which is awesome to see. So if you enjoyed the stream, if you're excited about Spider-Man, if you just want to help show some support, make sure you hit that like button on your way out. I also want to give a big shout out to everybody who continues to show their support here. All of you guys who gifted memberships, all of you guys who donated super chats, I very much appreciate it. If it wasn't for your direct support, I simply wouldn't be able to do this. You guys are the sponsors of the channel, and I really do appreciate it. And I also do want to let all of my new members, anybody who was gifted a membership today, if you are new here and it's your first time getting a membership, I did do a members only stream a couple days ago. Go check that out. You have access to all of the members only content. Asking if I'm going to be streaming tomorrow, that's up in the air right now. I'm actually undecided. I normally would have put out a video today, and obviously I did a stream instead. Tomorrow, I'm either going to do another stream, or if I don't do another stream, I'm going to put out a video. But either way, I should have something out there. I should have something out there for you guys. So just be on the lookout. I would recommend checking my channel at 11 a.m. Eastern time, just to see if I put out a stream or not. But if not, we'll get back onto the regular streaming schedule. It really depends on if what we have to discuss and talk about. And Domingo813 here with another super chat says the outro song should be Hero from SP movie from Spider-Man movie Yellow. Oh yeah, dude. Yeah. Is that Nickelback? Is that what you're talking about? The original Spider-Man movie with the Nickelback song, like I forget how it goes. We need a hero or something. I'm not going to sit here and wait. Yeah, dude, I totally forgot that Nickelback did a song for Spider-Man movie. God, that would be incredible. That would be so funny though. If like you finish Spider-Man 2, it's just this epic, insane, emotional roller coaster ride, and then like the credits start rolling and it's just Nickelback playing. It's like, what? That would be amazing. Man, now I kind of hope that's what ends up happening. But all right, guys. Yeah, I'm super hyped for Spider-Man. I'm happy to see it sitting at a 91 on Metacritic. It's just good to see, PlayStation Studios doing well, doing what they do best. So yeah, one last time, hit that like button and I will catch you in the next one. I also almost forgot, got to give a shout out to Devil Shooter. He's been doing a great job with the timestamps. So if you see him in the comments, give him a thank you, show him some love. Thank you so much for what you do, Devil Shooter. And yeah, that does it, guys. I will catch you in the next one. Until then, take care, everyone.